me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Shave his head! Shave his head! Shave his head!
Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonette, R.A., Mike Grinelli, Spittin Chiclets.
What is up, folks? Welcome to episode 573 of the Spittin Chiclets podcast, presented to you by Pink Whitney. It's me and Biz here. We got a lot to get into. This was going to be a best of episode, but then the greatest video in the history of the internet came out involving Nick Tarnasky. We'll get into that in a little bit, but first, we got to talk about Pink Whitney and what Pink Whitney brings to your summer and brings to your days on the lake and brings to your days on the beach or your days on the golf course. It really doesn't matter because Pink Whitney always delivers. Biz, you know it. You go get the little shooters. You go with your buddies. You'll get a big bottle. You bring it over to a cookout. It doesn't matter. Just pour a nice, cold, refreshing Pink Whitney. Mix it with a little soda water. Mix it with whatever you want, really. Some people go the double pink, and they mix the Pink Whitney with the pink lemonade, old school style. But either way, if you drink it, you'll enjoy it. I promise you that. And thank you so much to Pink Whitney for what they give to us, and they're the reason this show exists. Let's be honest here. So thank you so much, Pink Whitney. Go check it out. Biz, what is going on, my brother? I can't wait to hear this interview. Biz sat down with Nick Tarnasky. It's going to be the only interview he gives talking about this incredible video. Since then, the guy he dummied has released almost an apology video. Very, very respectful of that guy. We'll get into that in a little bit, but how you doing, brother?
Good. I mean, we said we needed a break, and here we are a week later. I mean, we're
it's 6 a.m. in Jackson right now, and you're sitting in bed.
Yeah, we're addicted to you guys. Actually going fly fishing today for the first time ever. And apparently it's at like Jimmy Kimmel. He's part owner of this lodge, and they own this strip of land, which has like a river in it or whatever. I think it's a river. I'm going in blind, obviously.
Okay.
And it's some of the best fly fishing in the world. Like, people fly from around the world to go to this specific lodge and location. And we have an unreal guide today, so I'm pretty fired up for it. And that's the first thing I wanted to say. Secondly, going back to Pink Whitney, I would imagine that guy on the golf course that Tarnasky threw around like a rag doll, he probably got into his own big old bottle.
I think he had the big dog, and finished it by himself.
So it made a little solo mission for him. So I will say, with obviously like after that happened, I reached out to Tarnasky and I said, hey, we've never gotten you on, and obviously we want to talk about your playing career, in which we did. Like, I talked to him for over an hour, and he actually downplayed the whole scenario. And the main reason he wanted to come on was just to kind of give his side of it, saying like, this isn't some old fighter looking to get back to his heydays and wanting to throw haymakers on the golf course. And he'll explain exactly how he ended up getting in this altercation. So it's just good to see that, like, obviously the other guys came to his senses. And I mean, when it originally happened, I was going to my trainer all the last couple weeks when I was in Arizona, and he like works with Sugar Sean O'Malley. I've talked about this guy. He described it as like an adrenaline dump, maybe. Like, I don't know if this guy was drinking and he was just so fired up and he just needed to get something out of him, where it's not very common where you're just like screaming and acting like that when you have cocktails. So he did mention that he played 36 holes. Whit, you've played a lot of golf in your life. Have you ever been that buckled on a golf course?
No, and there's been some sandbaggers. I mean, I think a Tuukka Rask.
I mean, Riggs might have been twice as drunk during our 27-hole match with him, but he wasn't that aggressive.
No. I think he was just so smothered he couldn't even be aggressive. We left the Tuukka Rask and Raycroft one, and I was like, this has gone a little extreme. Now, that was 18. Imagine going out for another 18. Oh. I'll just say, like, that video, I mean, I probably watched it 100 times, and then it came out. It was Nick Tarnasky. I remember Tarnasky well. On the Lightning, I remember on Springfield, he was a complete maniac, tough as nails, enormous. But, you know, it's been a while. I don't know him personally. And then when it came out, that was him. I watched it another 100 times. Like, just the perfect video. I mean, he chucks this guy in the pond. He says, good start, pal. Like, it's just, and then he gets out, and some of those punches, and you could tell he's really laying back. Like, he's hitting him, but he could have been hitting him harder. And then he gets him down and he gets back up. And at that point, I was like, he really could have killed him, but he chucks him again. He almost reached the pond again, the guy. He's completely parallel to the earth. And now you got to think, you're going to a golf course. I saw some tweets. I've loved this story. And the way the story's ended has been just perfect, too. I mean, both guys kind of not really loving the fact that it happened. Tarnasky just handled it perfectly. I mean, yes, he dummied a guy, but what are you going to do? At some point, you got to just like give a guy a beating. And then the other guy comes out, we mentioned, and says like a great apology video. I feel like we don't see many apology videos nowadays where the person's like, I fucked up. That's on me. Drank too much. Acted like an asshole. Just perfect. A perfect story. But when he's hitting him, bang, 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 to announce bang as you hit somebody who, and also, if you ever are close to a altercation or a fight with somebody, Biz, and the person is sitting there telling you, listen, you don't want to do this. I'm looking him in the eye. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to do this. Just start running. Just get away. Like, because if I'm somehow, some way going to be fighting someone and he's looking at me and saying, dude, like, I'm going to kill you right now, I'd be like, all right. Unless he's like the ultimate sonk master and psyching me out like beyond any movie I've ever seen. It's what's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio in the movies? Like, what is that? Inception? Like, that's almost like, unless you're inceptioning my mind, telling me you're that tough, like, I'm going to be like, all right, this guy, he's almost just like giving me an out right now. And Tarnasky tried to do it, but I can't wait to hear like the interview, because I remember him tough as nails and just an incredible story.
Inception lost me at the opening credits. So that just tells you how that one went for me. But you mentioned the sound effects, which is probably a lot of people's favorite part of that whole video. Mine afterward is finding out that Nick Tarnasky is from Rocky Mountain House, Alberta. Is there a more tough guy hockey city than Rocky Mountain House, Alberta?
Mountain House? I mean, yeah. You meet a guy from Rocky Mountain House, he 1,000% has been in a fist fight. And probably considering it's Alberta.
Out of the womb.
Oh, he fought. He's punching his way out of the vaginal cavity. What?
I said, you're fighting the lady cutting your umbilical cord. Rocky Mountain House.
Yeah. You're stringing out the nurse by maybe her mask as she's cutting the umbilical cord, and then I'm talking Rocky Mountain House, Alberta. They've fought on the ice and off the ice, because those people play hockey. They love drinking and they love golfing, obviously, and they love fighting. So, I mean, when you texted us, listen, I'm sitting down with Tarnasky tomorrow. I couldn't. I'm sorry, buddy. I couldn't.
Don't be sorry, man. That's what teammates are for. I mean, Jans and you were busy. You guys actually we'll talk about the hockey school quickly after whether before Tarnasky or after, whether you want. A couple other things that I thought were funny is Violent Gentlemen. They released a collaboration shirt. And they always have those Enforce LA, Enforce San Diego, whatever pro team it is. They had an Enforce Pace of Play, and it says bang, bang, bang underneath. So I'm sure those are selling like hotcakes. And actually, Sean Avery, who's overseas right now filming a movie, he reached out to me and asked for his email, because I believe that Avery makes a cameo in the new Happy Gilmore movie that's coming out. And the producers reached out to him to get Tarnasky's email to invite him and his family to come to the premiere of Happy Gilmore 2 in NYC. So the floodgates are going to open as far as opportunities for Nick Tarnasky for handling business on the golf course, as they should. But I can't stress enough that this wasn't like a coming to flex and dunk on interview. This was a guy who was very empathetic, knowing that this guy was going to like he's like, this guy might have a family and kids, and like his kid might have to see that, right? And it's probably a little bit embarrassing. So he was very honorable in mentioning all that and not really dunking on the guy. And then, as I mentioned, we really talk a lot about his career and how it all started, how his hockey career began, and how he fell in love with the game. And Whit, very similar to me, where I don't think naturally deep down he likes doing it and likes fighting.
Unless you're holding him up on the golf course. Unless
you're slowing down the pace of play, my friend. Don't be doing that. Woody, I could see you doing that for slowing down pace of play.
So I don't think you could see me like physically dominating somebody like that. But I will say, like, if you're golfing, dude, and there's a group in front of you that are slowing up the entire course and that are taking 20 minutes a hole and are lining up their putts, as a golfer, there's nothing worse. Nothing worse. Because it's not that hard to get up, get your club ready, your buddy hits, then you hit. A lot of times these slow groups, they'll all be next to one guy hitting, then they all drive over to the next guy hitting. It's like, dude, ready golf, play fast. I think the course saying at Seminole Golf Club is one of the best courses in the world in Florida is like, play good, play fast, play bad, play faster. Like, it's just one of those things where courses need to do a good job of really keeping up the pace play. That's why the Rangers have got to be out there. The course Rangers, they got to be out there and they got to be moving the pace along. And if you have a drunk crew in front of you, and not to mention if they let you play through, okay, no problem. Like, if you're going to let everyone play through, that's not ideal, but at least you're not holding up the course. But don't do it to Nick Tarnasky, because I'll tell you right now, he'll chuck you in a pond and yell out bang as he drills you with rights.
That's a fact. Early,
literally.
6 a.m. here, so sorry if I'm stuttering a little bit as I
No,
talk.
buddy. No worries.
Am I doing all right for 6 a.m. in Jackson?
You actually seem like it's 6 p.m. and you've had an active day working out hiking.
I went for a hike. The altitude here will get you, man. The dryness and the altitude. I did a hike. I went up to Snow King, it's called. It's the one hill downtown here. And actually what they did is they created these concerts up there. So every week in the summertime, they throw a concert. Like last summer, it was like Portugal the Man. Who's the old, not the Insane Clown Posse. I'm drawing a blank on who they had last summer, but I went to see De La Soul the other night, and they were incredible, dude. This is like a 90s hip-hop group. I believe they actually started in 88, and they've been going since, and these guys are a little bit older now, but fuck did they put on a show. If you could ever go see a De La Soul concert, go do it. I was dancing with the entire time. Could have been a little bit of the mushrooms. It could have been,
fair,
but I had happy feet the entire time. But earlier that day, I hiked up it, and then you get the gondola ride down. I was whacked. I had to take a 2-hour nap in the afternoon because the altitude got me. But
really? So Biz, played golf. You played golf with Brooks Orpik.
I did.
A big favorite of ours. Great guy. I got to go to high school with Orp. He went on to just incredible career. 2 Stanley Cups. He's gotten pretty fucking good at golf, huh?
He's unbelievable.
I know.
I couldn't keep up with him. I was fucking looking for my ball in the fescue all day. I was fucking all over the place as usual. He looked. He still looks like he can play.
Yeah. He's a lunatic in the gym, I think. Lunatic.
So I'm actually going for a hike with him on Tuesday morning, which is tomorrow, the day that this comes out. A few other things that are top of mind that I wanted to mention. Joe Pavelski. Holy shit. Eagle putt on 18. This guy's a machine.
He is so nasty at golf. Like, I was watching yesterday at the end. I mean, I don't get it. His swing is just perfect. It's so tight and compact, and he just beats it. And then that last hole, I mean, there's water up the left. It's a par 5. It looked like he hit like a 9-iron into it. I know the ball travels a little further in Lake Tahoe, but just perfectly, just right of the water, uphill putt, and he cans it for an eagle.
He holed out a couple years ago, and I think Madonna was in his crew. So I remember there being hype around him when he did that. I don't know if he got a hole-in-one there also, because I just remember there was this big uproar. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. We can name anything in golf, and he's done it. The other 2 things, though, back to hockey, I did mention that you and Jans, well, it was more so the Yandles threw on the Rink Shrinks hockey school, and you helped out at it. So that must have been awesome. And then we'll get to it afterward, is Merle's getting inducted to the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame, which is awesome. Congratulations to Mer. Loving all the comments that he invented the Hall of Fame, which is anything that when we mention Merle's now, that's what's being mentioned.
It's the Dos Equis, man, which you brought up recently. It's just like, Merle's didn't just invent the New York Hockey Hall of Fame. He invented New York, right?
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, he was the one. He even drew out how he wanted the state to be shaped. It was crazy. He showed me. Yeah, he was real young. And New York, you think, was around a lot longer than Merle's, but no, everything changed when he was born. But
so so Christopher Columbus kind of jacked what Merles did.
Yeah, but he Inception, going back to Inception, he was kind of in, I know. That's how the movie, Merles invented Inception. I know. Merles invented the dreidel that Leonardo DiCaprio spins in Inception too. It's wild what Merles has done. He truly is the most interesting man in the world.
I love reading the comments. The other day was like, Merle invented inventions. Like, that's Inception like right there. But how was the hockey school? Were your kids out there skating around?
So Ryder was, but quickly, let's just talk about Merle's quick.
Okay.
So happy for him.
Yeah.
And Army, what a classy, like Army is a unreal teammate. He always has been. You talk to guys who played with him and just a guy you love having around. Dude, he shot up quick. He went up to Saratoga for Merle's weekend. They went to the track. I think Army went 0 for 10. He didn't even sniff winning a bet at the track. I saw Merle's cashing in like an $8,000 winner. So it was Merle's weekend. Yeah, he invented cash too. So I think the fact that Timmy Conley was there, Clark MacArthur was there, Army was there. It sucks.
They probably didn't drink at all.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So Merle's had a great
Army
picture.
could hang out with Elio the way that he's hitting.
I know. Seriously, Army just got a kick in the dick, but just a great guy. And I want to shout out Merle's because Merle's dogs on himself a lot. He was a great player, dude. Like freak as a kid. Unreal. Could have gone to any college he wanted to. Decided to stay home. Played for RPI where he grew up going to the games. Was a legend there for 4 years. I mean, Merle's story of being on a run preseason, freshman year, and then just stopping and just being like, I'm not doing this. And the senior captain be like, what are you doing? Start running. He's like, nah, I'm not here to run. I'm here to get points. I'll get 50 points this year. 50 points as a freshman is, I mean, that's enormous in college hockey.
Did he actually tell the captain that he's like,
yes.
I ain't here to run?
Yes, I think Merle's he was a little cocky back in the day. He was the best player since he was 7. He was always ripping it up in every league, and he got there, and he's like, I don't need to run, dude. I'll get 50 points. He finished with 49. He didn't get 50, but 49 points as a freshman. He never loved working out. But Merle's, like I said, doesn't give himself the credit he deserves. He was nasty. And then he changed his game a little bit. He was a pain in the ass to play against. He could PK. When he realized he wasn't going to be like a first liner, he had been in his entire life in pro hockey. You know, in the NHL, when he was up, he was playing a different role. AHL, he always point per game. And then he played in 15 different countries. Did you see his plaque? It's like Matt Murley, New York Hockey Hall of Fame, and then, you know, RPI, and then it lists off like all the countries he played in. It was a 7-foot piece of wood. You know, South Korea, North Korea, Japan, Russia, Finland, Sweden, Switzerland.
Yeah, it was cool. He kind of got to get a bit of a world tour as far as hockey
big time
towards the back half of his career, and I'm sure he's grateful for the life experiences. But going back, I didn't know him like when he was younger. But just obviously talking to Conley and you're more aware of it. And I'm sure Army was of the fact that they played together in Wilkes-Barre as well. But just kind of, he was like a prodigy coming up. Like you think he was talked about like kind of like Crosby was?
No, not to that extent. That was kind of Timmy Conley. So Merles is a 79 and Conley is an 81 and played with the 79s for like 7 years. Like, I know, like playing up a year is kind of nuts. Like I see kids do it now. You're like, wow, that kid's that good. He's playing, you know, as you get older, like when you're 11, 12 and you're playing up, the kids can be a foot taller and 70 pounds heavier. Conley was playing 2 years up. So Conley was like a true phenom and then went to the OHL, lit it up and was 5th overall pick. Merles was just really good. And he was always really good. He was always dirty too. I don't think people know. Merles was a prick on the ice.
That's why him and Army get along so well. Army was a savage out there, dude.
Army talking about trying to just knock people out with shoulders to the face. I mean, that's when you know we were playing in a different time. We were playing in a different era when Army's like, okay, Whit, make sure you angle that guy wide. He's going to have his head down. I'm going to come from the off wing and I'm going to put my shoulder through his nose and he's going to be knocked out. And then it would happen. So different game, different era, couple of rats, but just congrats to Merles. Unbelievable person. And the fact Merles came and joined us at that trip in Philadelphia, I want to say, 2018, 19?
Man,
and he called the draw. He called the draw.
where it all
Philadelphia
began.
Flyers, Washington Capitals. He's going to be the gambling guy. We're getting into the gambling space at Barstool and Chiclets. Draw, dude, plus 335. I invented ties. Boom, they tie. Merles, that was it. He took off. He just never stopped, and he's our guy. So is Army. So congratulations.
Yeah.
And on to the
What a
weekend.
season they had too. Game notes, man. They're evolving.
they
Their
crushed it,
chat's
dude.
buzzing. Yeah,
They
it's
crushed it.
awesome to see. It's awesome to see.
Very
We got
happy for them.
We got a hell of a team. Whether
do.
it's those guys or the
We
guys
do.
behind the scenes, like even Fishy hopping on this morning. We said to everybody we planned the best of, and these guys, no problem, just hopping on and getting her done with us.
G's in Greece. So G was at a
G's
wedding in Greece.
and getting frisked in the what do they call it, the TSA line right now, and
Yeah.
on and watching from behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
just remarkable. He went to that. He went to. I've drawn a blank on the DJs. Loud Luxury. One of the guy, I believe it was Andrew, got married over there.
That's whose wedding it was?
Yeah, it looked awesome. G and Alana went over there. I think they're on their way home now. And I think G might be even going back to Europe again.
I think
in a
he's
couple
going
weeks.
to Italy. I think
Yeah,
he's going
Italy.
to Italy in a couple weeks.
He loves Italy. I think Alana's got family there who has a place, and he just cruises around. He goes and eats all the best food. That's all I hear about is how good the food in Italy is, and that you can eat all the pasta in the world, but you don't gain any weight.
I don't know. If you stay there long enough, you might, but it's
Okay.
definitely not like the pasta over here we're eating or the wine. You can have wine over there and not be hungover. I loved Rome. I was just in Italy for a little bit in Rome. It was incredible. But G, happy for him as well. Alana, you know what she went through with her breast cancer. She's doing phenomenal. So they're getting to enjoy. They haven't had like a normal summer together, right? Like they've been going through all these different things. So I'm very, very pumped for G and Alana to get to go
Yeah.
on these trips.
You nailed
Fish
it.
was at a wedding last night. He hops on at 8 a.m. for us. You're up at 6:30. Hell of a
I
squad
don't think
we
Fish
have
went
here.
to bed.
Yeah, maybe not.
I think he's
maybe
just
not.
rolling right through.
You know, Fish can talk to somebody for hours. He could have been talking to the same guy from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then hopped on and done Chiclets. That guy, he can talk. You know it, Fish. You know it. But this week, we did a lot of talking and coaching. So the Yandle Hockey Camp, there's my hat, Y3K. It's got the Nantucket logo right there. Beautiful lid. It was awesome. So this was the third year that Brian and Keith have thrown their camp in Nantucket. First year for the Whitney family to get to be there. The dates were kind of moved around where we had our house rented. This year I said, I need the dates. I want to be there. It was awesome. It was awesome. Brian couldn't go on the ice. He's got to get back surgery from an injury at work. So he's got that August 4th. So he couldn't skate because like his just back's all mangled. So Keith and I were out there. I was really helping out with the younger kids, the mites and squirts. I was out there like a couple days with the peewees and bantams, the second hour and a half. But it was great, dude. Like a lot of local kids from Nantucket, then a lot of kids who were there vacationing or who parents maybe rented a house with some friends so the kids could all do it. Started off with just giving them a good edge work biz. And then, you know, getting into the scrimmages, all the different drills we had. Ryder had a blast. So Keith's sister, Lauren, she helps run the camp as well. She's doing the behind the scenes, checking kids in, dealing with the board of health, all the madness that you don't consider when you're talking about running a hockey camp and all the things you got to do. So her son Tripp is Ryder's age. He was out there. Dude, it was a great time. How about Yance? This is classic Yance. You know how he just don't give a shit, right?
No.
He just, there's never been a second of anxiety in this kid's life. So the camp ends Friday. It was 9 to 12 every day. And we're sitting at his, he's got such a pad over there. Beautiful house. All his family was over. All his wife's family had come over for the 4th. Then his family's over for the camp. And he's like, oh, dude, his daughters have, I think a week or 2 week camp in North Carolina. A big sleepover camp. A bunch of their friends from Florida are doing it. They did it last year. So he's like, oh, we got to leave tomorrow. There's only one flight from Boston down to this area in North Carolina where the camp is. It's at 9 a.m. We're on an island. It's 1 p.m. Friday. They got to fly at 9 a.m. Saturday. I'm like, you get the flight yet? He's like, nope. I'm like, you got a ferry off the island yet? Nope. I'm like, He's like, oh, yeah, I guess we got to do this right now. Dude, he's trying to book a flight. Then he's trying to find a ferry. I'm like, anyone else in the world would have had this plan. Nope. Jans is just kicking it. He's just got his feet up in the pool area. He's on his phone. He's checking for ferries, checking for flights. Ends up taking a 10 p.m. ferry off of Nantucket, getting to Hyannis in the Cape, stays at like the Hyannis Harbor Hotel, and then takes an Uber at like 5:30 in the morning up to Logan to fly. So just a guy who's just doesn't give a shit, never rattled, really cracked me up.
That's why he could fucking walk the blue line, last man back, and just snap it like he did. Like, you need to have alligator blood like that.
That's what somebody said to me. Like, no wonder he just had no pulse on the ice with the puck. He's just like, yeah, dude, I'm fine. I'll just find the guy late tapping goal.
I don't give a fuck. Still
I don't
getting
give
paid.
a fuck. My money's already in my bank. But I was bummed out with the end. We had a great week. My buddy Jake Plaskowski, he's the head pro at Sankaty Golf Club. It's my favorite golf course on Nantucket, old school, mini Shinnecock, I call it.
I feel like you say that about a lot of golf courses.
Nobody, this place is different.
That's your favorite?
Now, unfortunately, I shot 84, round before that 81. I stink at golf. I'm in a bad place. But to the point where like I need some like help mentally with like not being so like depressed when I'm bad at golf, because I know I'll be good at golf again and then I'm going to be bad again. I have to enjoy the downtimes when I'm really trying to find my game. Right now it's ugly and it makes me upset, but still I wanted to shout out Jake for getting me out there. Amazing course, my favorite. So we had a great day there. Besides my 84, hit a shank, just horrible. Birdied the first from 50.
You never want to birdie the first.
No,
Tuca told us that.
I know that my T-ball on 2, it went basically, I'd say 100 yards right.
Okay.
Literally. And luckily, Lynx Golf, I found the ball, the 8 iron then went 100 yards right, double, and then I'm kind of screwed from there. But my week, I was thinking I wanted to be at this place Friday night after camp it's my favorite. It's the best sunset I've ever been a part of. It's beautiful. It's called Millie's. It's Mattocket, Nantucket. It's out on one of the ends of Nantucket. You get the food, you bring it down to the beach, you get the drinks, you get the cooler, and you're just staring at a beautiful sunset. I was talking about this months ago. I'm like, Bree, Friday night, I want to go to sunset at Mattocket. So I dragged Brian Yandel, I dragged Joanna, I dragged their 3 boys. I dragged Lauren Noonan. That's Brian and Keith's sister. I dragged their husband out there. And I'm like, guys, this sunset's going to be on. I'm talking about a sunset like I'm like a 12-year-old girl talking about, maybe painting a sunset. It's beautiful out, 5 o'clock. All of a sudden, buddy, the fog rolls in. The fog. You couldn't see 50 yards in front of you. And they're just chirping me. Lauren Noonan said, no sky at night, Ryan Whitney's delight. So I got a kick in the dick. I couldn't get my sunset. Kind of a bummer of an ending, but a great trip nonetheless. Great trip. My mom was over there. My dad came over with my aunt. It was just awesome.
That might be the most Whit story ever right there.
It was crazy, dude. And we were setting up at
like
5.
You talking about a sunset for that long and then for that to happen.
I'm going to show you something.
The only thing that would have been cooler is if the fog would have rolled out and there would have been crepuscular rays coming down.
Dude.
That would have been cool.
This is how the Whit sunset I've been talking about for months went. Pretty nice sunset, huh?
Yeah, Armageddon.
It was sick. It was sick. So, incredible week. Awesome time. Anything else? Oh, yes. The Boston Red Sox. I see you tweeting about the Red Sox. I don't got much time here because I got to go fly fishing. Let me know what the fuck the Red Sox are doing. Okay, I know you got to go. They've won 10 in a row, buddy. They traded
good.
away Rafi Devers, who people were like, what the hell? They signed a $300 million contract, just whatever, last year. And first off, people are telling me, oh, bandwagon fan. I've been watching the Red Sox since these people chirping me were in diapers. I probably watched 100 games a year from 98 to like 2018. And then since then, it's just, but yeah, I haven't been watching many games. They haven't been great. It's kind of been a disaster. Dude, they have this young squad. They got this Marcelo Mayer, 4th overall pick a couple years ago, silky stud. He's up now. They got this Roman Anthony. This kid's an absolute stallion. He's lighting it up. It's just, they got this Sedan. I don't even know if I'm saying is like Raffaella. Now, maybe I look a little
Sounds like a
bandwagon.
soccer player.
Maybe I look a little bandwagon considering I can't say some of their names, but this team is so fun to watch. They've won 10 in a row. I'm back in. And I think what happened was, and I think other dads or moms will agree, Ryder is so into baseball. He loves baseball.
Really?
That I'm now, and so now he's like, can we watch the Red Sox? Now, I'm back. All my buddies at home, we're all back in, and it's just a joy every day to know whether it's 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you sit back, you watch the Sox. I feel like I'm 18 years old again. Not physically or mentally, but Red Sox wise, I'm 18.
I think
years
it
old.
always is fun to root for an overachieving team. And is that what they're doing right now? Like they didn't have much expectation coming in where all these young kids are. I mean, they always have a big payroll, so that might be a bit.
Well, that's changed a little. That's kind of changed. But they have this pitcher, this Crochet, this guy, big lefty, absolute horse. He's an all-star. So I've just been very into the Sox. It feels like summer. I'm loving it. But I know you got to go fly fishing. So let's send this thing over right now to Nick Tarnasky. Amazing, amazing video. Bang, bang, bang. Biz sat down with him right now. The legend of the golf course, the no slow play king, Nick Tarnasky.
And before we throw it over, Yans and Whit were not with me. I didn't establish that right away. I just want to say, for those of you who are like, oh, are those two guys? They were helping out at a hockey school being
I was teaching how to make a tape-to-tape pass to a bunch of 7-year-olds. And
Yans was teaching kids not to give a shit so they can quarterback power plays. So now, over to Nick Tarnasky.
Guys, Whit here. And this episode is brought to you by Body Armor. Bang! I'll tell you right now, this new Body Armor Chill, this is frozen cherry. It's incredible. This summer, cool off with a Body Armor Chill, a bold new way to hydrate with no artificial dyes, flavors, sweeteners, 1,390 milligram of electrolytes, antioxidants, vitamins A, C, and E, coconut water, no artificial dyes, B vitamins, natural flavors and sweeteners, and they got some great flavors. This is frozen cherry, incredible. They got frozen orange and they got frozen berry, impossibly cold, incredibly tasting, and I'll tell you right now, official partner of the NHL, and this episode is brought to you by Body Armor. So check it out right now. Available for a limited time. Grab yours at a 7-Eleven or a store near you, and you will not be disappointed. Frozen cherry I like. Frozen berry is actually my favorite, but I've drank all of those or drunk all of those. Which one is it? I don't know. I apologize, Body Armor, for my English not being great, but Body Armor Chill Frozen Cherry. Thank you so much to Body Armor. This episode is brought to you by them. Go check it out right now. 7-Eleven or a store near you.
Folks, it's just myself hopping on here, and I'm with Nick Tarnasky. Nick, pretty insane moment. By the way, how's your last 48 hours been?
Yeah, pretty tough, pretty overwhelming. I mean, it's nice to hear from damn near every single team that I played with for 13, 14 years of my life. Kind of seeing some numbers pop up. Oh yeah, I'm here from guys from Springfield in 2005. Like it's
okay.
Guys are fired up.
You might even
and
be able to get an NHL PTO off of this.
Yeah, fuck, I don't know. They'll lose a few pounds to get that back.
Well, for everyone, anyone who's been living under a rock, a crazy viral moment happened on a golf course in Canada, in Alberta this past week. And I had to hop on because the story ended up evolving into the fact that it was Nick Tarnasky, a guy who I played against in my last year with the San Diego Gulls. And there was a guy on the golf course. He was obviously intoxicated, ends up biting off more than he can chew. And it just so happens it's with you, a former NHL heavyweight. And obviously it didn't end well, but we just wanted to get you on, or I guess I just wanted to get you on and clear the air as to like how this all transpired, hear from you. And then obviously we want to get into your career after we talk about this story, but this is probably something that was viewed, tens of millions of time online. And it just so happened to be you in the video. So I'll start with this. Like, how did this all begin? Like, was this happen the minute he teed off to where you guys ended up meeting up?
Yeah, so we started on the back. We teed off on 10. I watched him tee off, and I mean, I didn't know really what situation he was in, but I mean, you hit a tee shot 10, 12 yards. You kind of give it, take a mulligan, rip another one, and I didn't even pay attention. Then by the time I teed off, played hole 10, the marshal comes back and he said, hey, those guys I'm trying to kick them off, but they're trying to fight me. And I'm like, all right, don't worry about it. They're having fun. If I end up catching up to them, I'll just say, hey guys, like, let's, keep having fun. Let's stay respectful to the staff and, the other golfers. Like, no big deal. You guys are having yourself a time. Okay, so catch up to them. The next group, they're on 12. Now, that's a buddy of mine and his fiance. And, apparently he hit a long ball within 15, 20 yards of him. And now buddy came back and wanted to fight him too. So I'm like, come on, man. Like, so now by the time these guys take 45 more minutes to tee off on 15.
So this guy's duffing every shot. He can't even stand up. He's just inebriated. And it's taken how long to play like 3 holes?
Like we're talking a twosome, a threesome, and we're 20, 22, 25 minutes a hole. And so now we've jammed up at 15 tee box. I'm behind my buddy. He's kind of, he's a little tentative because these guys are clearly, bath salts or meth, or I don't know what was going on there. So I said, hey, I'll go talk to him. And so I rolled up and I just said, hey guys, that we got to get moving. And that instantly set him off. And he's doing the fist clenching and the pump in his arms. And I said, like that's where the altercation starts. That's on the video. Obviously everybody's seen what then happens. And from then on, it was just basically what you see is exactly what happened.
Is this like a place you're a member at? Like it was just like a public course? Like how was this guy allowed to get this fucked up while playing and then take that long without, any type of restraint?
I guess it's a public course, but it's a great course. It's run well. It's in Red Deer. I've been a member there, I think, for 8 years now.
Okay. So a place you're a member at. All right.
Yeah. Like we have a fantastic membership there. We have a great group. Like there's never any issues. Very rarely do we even need a marshal out there. I've never seen these guys. I don't know why they decided maybe Friday night would be the time we're going to come get obliterated and start looking for any type of person on the course that will fight me. I don't understand that mindset.
See, it seems like the type of place you'd pick a fight to actually win one, but it just so happens you were golfing that day. Now, so you obviously are aware you're an NHL former tough guy. This guy does not. So he was kind of above ground, right? Like he had like about a foot on you because he was on the tee box. Maybe that's why he might end up betting off more than he could chew. But was it you who yelled out, "I'm going to throw you in the pond"? So was it you who gave him the warning, or was it your buddy?
Yeah, like I was trying to be like, let's make it fun. Like I'm not going to threaten you, but like, hey, if I hear I'm going to get thrown in the pond by this fucking mutant, maybe I'm going to chill out. Maybe And I thought, that might be kind of a good, fun way to be like, hey, you guys are in the wrong. Let's speed things up.
Oh my God. So then he comes at you, and then you throw him the first time, and then he keeps coming. Like at this point, you're kind of telling him to stop. But the one thing that I think surprised everybody was, did you give sound effects to your punches when you played?
I don't know. I was just trying to have fun with it. Like I don't know. It's like, man, why I'm fighting in a golf course against a guy that like I don't even know what's going on here. I just thought, oh fuck, this might be a blast. Fuck, have some fun with it. Like whatever.
Oh my God. So what was the aftermath of all this? Like after that, was he taken off the course? Like how did it end? And he finally fuck off with his buddy?
Yeah. So after the whole confrontation, basically what's seen on the full length video, I tell him like, you got to get the fuck out of here, because it's not like you've made it. Like now there's 3 or 4 groups pounded up behind us. There's other, dad with young teens. And I'm like, hey, like you guys got to go. Like it's enough, at that point, he's completely, he has no idea now where he is. And
did he put his tail between his legs and take off?
They finally did. So they take off. The one girl that was behind, that was my buddy's fiance. So she phoned the pro shop. They phoned the cops. So we go play hole 15. We're halfway through hole 16, and I see the cops parked at the green walking over. So I pick up, I headed over, and they said kind of like, were you guys the group that got thrown in the lake? And I'm like, no, officer, like, I'm not going to try to like hide from you. Like I threw the guy in the lake. He was threatening people, trying to fight anybody he could. I tried to, diffuse the situation the best I can without hurting someone, ripped him in the lake. And he said, oh, you know what? Like, I don't know what more you could have done. Like we've already had 5 or 6 complaints of threats from staff, from golfers, from, anybody involved in the golf course that day.
The beer cart lady. So like, I mean, we've already kind of made this clear that this guy was being the instigator all day. And then even in your situation, like he was on the tee box and then he lunged at you. The video, by the time the video catches that, it kind of just catches him in screen. So he almost lunged at you and gave you a shove. And that's when you kind of just made the rotation and threw him in the lake.
I mean, lake was close enough where I thought, okay, fuck, at least maybe give this guy a chance
You
to
were
cool off in
him.
moldy fucking water. Like, I don't know what's growing in there, but like, fuck, you got to think, you get thrown in the fucking pond.
I was trying to give him benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, maybe he caught like a slip and slide action. Then he came and then you gave him the other way. You got a full core workout out of it for sure. Oh my God. So, what's it been like the last like 24 hours and like the amount of like chaos? Like we joked about the PTOs, but like how many texts have you gotten? How many phone calls? And I would imagine that you probably came on this one to just kind of clear the air. Don't want to talk about it anymore. This is my piece. This is what happened. It wasn't just me being a hardo on the golf course looking for one. Hey, I want to fucking dust off the old, the gloves here or the fist to like my playing days. You this guy was antagonizing everybody, the staff, and then finally you're just like, enough's enough. This guy needs a right hook and get chucked in a lake.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, like I asked him not to. I told him he shouldn't get involved with me. I asked him to move on. I gave him every opportunity not to. Charged at me like I'm not gonna fold over. Like that's not my nature to then I'm gonna look like the coward. There's no fucking way. So I thought, you know, the lake thing would be good and, you know, good laugh, and then comes out of the fucking lake like the girl from that Ring movie, and I'm like, dude, what's going on here now? You know, and then I got uneasy because you don't know.
That's a good example,
right? He's looking at me with those eyes that I don't know if you're looking at me or through me or like, do you have a knife? Like I don't know. And so again, like I don't go to the golf course, especially where I have tons of friends and family that go there. That oh yeah, I'm going on a Friday night looking to get into a tilt. Like I play there 5 times a week. It's somewhere where I enjoy my weekends, my time, and the friendships. That I'm not trying to make a scene here. Like I respect the people there, and it's unfortunate that it had to happen. But when you go to a course and you challenge that many people, eventually you're going to run into somebody that says, "Fuck it, okay, let's go."
Were you surprised at how easy you were able to hurl him? Like kind of like in like Jazzy Jeff in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like out of the house.
I don't know. I mean, obviously there's some adrenaline, but like, it's just, I don't know what he was thinking. It was just kind of, it was so bizarre to me. And like, even my mindset at the time was like, I'm looking at my friends, like, is this guy fucking serious? Like, come on, man. Like, just move on. I'm huge compared to you. You're way out of your element. Like, just don't do it. Like, why? There's nothing good going to happen to this. And just like, let's move on. Like, it's not cool. Like it shouldn't have happened. It's, everyone's getting a kick out of it, but it's unfortunate because it's just not like, it's not my mentality at the golf course. And I guess ultimately just kind of piped off the wrong
we
person.
can get a few chuckles out of it, but like, you know, there's the empathetic element as well. Like you're probably like, I didn't want this to begin with. Like, I don't want to fucking flex and also bury this guy too. Cause like, I don't know where you got to be in life to get that buckled on a golf course where you're just all of a sudden challenging everybody, right? Like I kind of dealt with a similar situation where there was those guys around town. They were buckled. They were just looking for something, right? So like, and this guy probably lives in your community, and I don't know if he's got a family. And like now all of a sudden, like your worst possible day is being portrayed online.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's everyone's getting a good laugh. I think the message was sent that it was inappropriate, and you know he got embarrassed by it. But like I think it's like, you know, let a sleeping dog sleep. It's nothing to, you know, continue hacking a guy about. It happened. It's done with. Like he's not feeling good about it for sure. I mean, I'm feeling the the anxiety of the messages and message, and they're positive. Like everybody reached out. I don't understand how that would feel to be negative. So I mean, unfortunately it happened, but like I don't think we need to beat the guy to death about it.
No. How many calls and texts, by the way?
I mean, I was on the plane all day yesterday. Probably 500.
Oh, fuck. That's just getting buried. Now, I would imagine this is something that like one of your buddies captured, sent it to a couple group texts. Like you wouldn't believe just what just happened. And then all of a sudden it was going through town, and then somebody in town posted to the internet. Did you know who like first posted it?
we have no idea. Like, we tried to not let it out, and it's again, one person hears about it, they see it, and exactly somebody rips it out to a group chat with 80 people, and then it's fucking wildfire. So,
well, I mean, you're from Rocky Mountain House, which is a town, town name in Alberta. Now, that's not where you were, right? You're currently in Red Deer.
yeah,
Okay, so how far in proximity is that?
it's like 45 minutes.
Okay, and so. I mean, let's kind of transition, unless there's anything else you kind of want to button up about this story, because like we also, I wanted to talk to you also because I played against you your last year. You were a tough guy. You had an insane journey, drafted the same draft year as me in the 9th round. I don't know if you ever thought you were actually going to get to play. Played, I believe, over 250 games, got to bounce around to 3 teams. By the way, all no state tax teams. So ching ching, right? Right. And then ended up in the KHL. So I want to hear all about it, and the people who are listening to this interview to also get to know like the human on the other side. So how did you grow up loving hockey? Like, what made you fall in love with the game?
Yeah, I mean, that's just, in those days, like Rocky Mountain House, it's really all there was. There's an oval and then an outdoor rink and a rink. There, I don't know, there was like maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people. My dad would build a rink in the yard every year, and like, that's all you do. In the summer, you play street hockey. In the winter, you play ice hockey. Like, there's literally nothing to do. You know, there's no mall, there's no skate park, there's no BMX. Like, there's all that stuff now, but in the 80s and 90s, like, you just played hockey. Like, everybody played. All we did. The ones that loved it. I mean, Brad Stewart's from there. He won the cup twice. He came out of there too. So I got to look up to him my whole life and just kind of follow in steps of what he would do. I'd call him once in a while, meet up with him, play roller hockey with him, and kind of learn from, what guys did in the dub, go watch the dub. Like, Red Deer Rebels, 45 minutes. My dad would always take me. We'd go watch. You'd see like tons of Brian McCabe, like Trevor Kidd, like all these old names, Peter Vandermeer, like Mapletop. You'd see all these guys play. And, you kind of start to understand where you want to be. And then, yeah, that's just kind of where you set your goals and just never really give up on them.
Yeah, good people around you, like kind of following that same goal. Now, the minute the ice was taken out, was it right to ball hockey and roller hockey? Because we just had Matthew Schaefer on, the first overall draft pick, and we were asking about him power skating, and he said, no, actually it was more like rollerblading in the summer, which gave me my stride. So was that kind of the same thing, whether it was winter or summer, it was ball hockey or whatever?
Yeah, when we were younger, we do soccer and baseball and stuff like that too. And then, once you get to 13, 14, 15, you kind of want to transition into more of a elite. Then you start with the training and stuff, which I kind of neglected until I was about 17. But
okay, why, you just like, what, you wanted your off seasons to drink beers? I mean, how old were you when you started drinking? I would imagine in a town like that, it starts young.
Nah, I wasn't too bad when I was younger, like a couple times, but just didn't really grow up like that. And we kind of, like, other kids, there were parties and stuff. I'd go once in a while, but I kind of didn't really want to get involved in that scene. Just had a pretty decent attitude towards getting better, even though I didn't put the effort in. I also chose not to get involved in the distractions. So kept my nose pretty clean there growing up. And then even like when I actually finally made junior at 18, it was like because I didn't party at all. Like, it was like, quit it, or like you might as well not even come to camp. Like, there's no point in coming out of shape.
I mean, that's a huge thing, not to be drinking, right? You already have an advantage over a lot of young kids. They want to live their social life too, right? So at what point were you finally like, okay, I'm not drinking, I need to also start dialing in the training if I want to make this a for real thing? Like, was it when you were drafted to the dub?
No, I never got drafted to the dub. No
way.
I got listed to the dub, and then I got picked up in the expansion draft maybe a season later by Vancouver. Then I got traded to Kelowna. So I didn't even work out before my first actual dub camp. I'd made the team, but then I got sent back to junior A around November. And then, so that was the actual, I never committed to training until my 18-year-old year, where I was like, okay, like, yeah, you can't, like, just going and playing street hockey and ripping a few pucks doesn't get you where you need to get to make a team. And obviously Mark Habscheid, pretty well-known coach as far as discipline. I knew I was going into his camp and figured, well, I might as well commit I mean, 18 years old, you're kind of like, in those days was your last chance to make the dub. And so I had to, commit that year and ended up making the team, and then got drafted to the Lightning after that year.
So who did you lean on to like figure out, okay, where do I start training? Was it all those local guys you mentioned? Like, did you start all of a sudden going to sessions Monday through Friday? Like, how did you start doing it?
Yeah, I moved into Calgary and my agent hooked me up with the trainer there, and I got like dialed into the personal trainer and nutritionist and like did it the right way and you know, ended up being 2-a-days and like understanding why you're doing certain things and what the process is from, you know, May, June, July, August to where you want to be for September. So it was a good step for me. I needed it. And, you know, I had a lot of support from my mom and dad financially, obviously, to not work at Home Hardware, you know, Canadian Tire for the summer. And I was able to go train.
That's unbelievable. So now, like when you were growing up, when you were 12 years old, were you getting in brawls at school? Was this something where like you like to just like play the game and then at a certain point you're like, I got to evolve my bag, so I have to start doing this? Like, when did that side of you come out on the ice?
I used to fight once in a while when I was a kid, but not much. And then, you know, I had a like massive year in midget AAA. I had 40 goals, and it's like, oh, I thought I was a sniper. But then you get sent home from the dub the next year, and it's like, okay, you're not a sniper, bud. Like, let's get you dialed in. There was Mark Hadtried that like just he took me aside and he's like, buddy, like, I'm trying you on the power play. It's not working. You're also not that good at fourth line. Eh? So he's like,
easy.
He just said like, you need to find a way. And he was just honest. He said, you know, go get in a fight. Even if you get beat up, watch how good it feels. And so the next night we played Prince George and I ended up fighting twice. And he just came in. I was like already undressed and he came in, gave me a thumbs up and walked out of the room. And I'm like, hey, fuck, you know what? He's right. Like, you can't be this size and be scared. Like, if you are, you have no chance, because I can't skate fast enough and I can't puck handle well enough in front of 6,000 people that I'm going to score 40 at any level. So let's start doing more than one role and stay in the lineup. Or like, you might as well go back to junior B and fucking Poco Buckaroos and you know, start on the beers.
How'd the first one go?
I think it was all right. I honestly don't even remember. I just remember the feeling of him, exactly what he described. That you remember like your first two fights were like, fuck, it doesn't really hurt. It's quick. It's fun. And the crowd's going, you get your adrenaline. You're like, fuck, this is actually kind of awesome. Like, it's almost addicting where you can't wait to do it again. Cause the rush you get makes you feel so good about what you just did. And all the boys are fired up. And like,
yeah,
that was the moment. I won't forget that day for the rest of my life. How the boys were like, fuck, okay. I don't know, probably won one, lost one. I don't know. They probably, decently tough guys. And it's just like, you know, that was the transition between being I think I'm a sniper to, okay, I can play a third and fourth line role and then maybe score a goal or two once in a while.
Oh my God. You just described it though, like the high from it. Like, it could also be where your team loses by a couple goals and it doesn't really feel like the coach is as mad at you, especially if you did it for the right reasons and all the boys in the room are like, hey, thanks for sticking up for the boys. So it's kind of, it feels fucking good, man. It feels good.
That's like, you know, it's, you know exactly what it's like, especially, you know, you go out after you get scored on, hey, fourth line, let's go. And you're just like, well, fuck, I'm not going out. They're not putting me out to go like, oh yeah, they're going to go get one. No fucking rights. We're not. You're going to go out there. You're going to find Asham or you're going to find fucking Brad May.
Oh, he was tough.
You have to.
I never fought Mayday.
Or you're not playing tomorrow. Like, it's not like, hey, Nick, go do this. It's no, Nick, it's your turn now. Like, well, fuck, I get it. You know, I'm not numb to the fact.
So at the fact of your size and now you kind of got this rush for it and you had this willingness to do it and you felt like what you felt from it, like how often would you start doing it? Like was it like 20 fights a season? Like, were you going pretty hard? Like the WHL was a tough league back then.
I think I was only running about like 8 to 10 fights a year because that was my 18-year-old year. I think I had like 30 points and 8 or 10 fights. And then I got like, I only played the 2 years, played 18, 19. I think I had 8 or 10 fights and 50 points, my 19. And then it was that lockout year that we went into that, was that 04-05 lockout or 03-04 lockout, whatever that was. And that was the year that really, really escalated the fighting because you look at those rosters. I mean, you look at my team in Springfield, I think we had like 8 super heavyweights in it. And you look at every team, every fourth
there was a bit of a log
jam
because all the really good players who were vets like some of them didn't play at all. The really skilled ones who were still young in their careers went and took all the Euro spots. And then the heavyweights kind of got put in the spot. Well, I want to play. Where are we going to send them? The AHL. So there was this log jam of heavies where it became the UFC for a year there.
And you look at those. Yeah. It gives me like anxiety to this day. You look at those rosters, or who you play tomorrow? Philadelphia Phantoms in the Spectrum. They got Cote, Eager, Josh Gratton, and I'm like, fuck. Like I'm fighting one of them. It's just like who? You don't know who. Like you. So it's every rank, every team, 3 to 5 tough guys, like monsters, Stroshai and fucking Scroy, like any of these clowns, like unbelievable dudes. Gillies, like holy god. Crazy tough list. Guys, like
crazy list, kind of as crazy as that 0-3 draft. We'll get to that in a little bit, but man, so I was gonna go a few ways. Your last year of junior though, with Kelowna, you lit it up. Like that was where you finally got to also play a little bit. So that must have felt pretty good.
Yeah, so that actually was in Lethbridge. I finished in Lethbridge.
Oh, Lethbridge, excuse me.
Yeah, so I finished there. And like it's one of those things too. Like I was fighting a bit, but I scored a few goals and just kind of ran with it. Had some confidence and just played hard every night. And I mean, fuck, we had me and Chris Versti and Brent Seabrook on the PP. Like pretty helpful to have players like that to get kind of stuck with on the ice and build some confidence off giving one piece to Siebes out there, right? Like okay, let's pick up some greasy apples just because you got a chance to go out there once in a while because you earned it, right? So. It was good. And then, I had a decent year. I think I ended up getting like 25 or so goals just based off of merit. And it was, you earned it. You maybe you're not the first line, but
were you the half?
You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait till the 12-minute mark to get your first shift. You're not out there in the TV timeouts doing laps. Like, you can get a little bit involved and have some fun out there.
I know a lot about those laps. Were you working the half wall? Or were you the net front guy?
I got to play kind of all over. I don't even remember what the system was, but I remember anytime I'd get the puck, I just made sure I got on Versteeg stick or on Seabrook stick, and then I'd go find a way to just stay out there. Like
smart player. Yeah, get it to the better player's hands. What a veteran you are. Oh, hey, so you kind of mentioned how you didn't do it growing up, and then you had this fulfillment from it the first time you did it at 18. Like, I was a guy who it wasn't natural. Like I was never a killer. Like there was guys like Colton Orr. We were talking offline beforehand. Scotty Sabrin, who I played with, who was a lefty, where I'm like, oh my God, these guys are nail guns. Would you get like butterflies in your stomach from morning skate basically till game time, before you had to do it?
Every weekend, you bet. It didn't matter. Like it didn't matter, especially in the NHL. Like. There was like 1 or 2 teams that'd be like, thank God, like they don't have anyone. So it was like Lightning, we'd play Florida and it'd be like, thank God, like I get one easy night because there were guys in the league, like they might not be looking for me, but there was like the John Scotts and the Boogards and like those guys they were out there. I don't even remember a lot of the names, but the Zenon Canuck, because like when I was in Florida, then he was in Tampa, it was like, I wouldn't say I was scared, but it's like, I know we're fighting. And like, how's it going to go? Is it first shift, second shift? How many times? Like, I love them. Like, we're going to fight. We're going to talk about it in the warm-ups. And it's like, where are we going? And then it's like, yeah, fuck it. Let's go. So every time, and it was every game through my whole career, who's on the other team. And especially if you have a bit of beef, like the 1 year in the minors there, I think I fought Storts like 12 times. And it was like every single weekend. It was Hamilton against Rochester. Like, we're fighting tonight, and it's just like Storts, like yelling over the bench, like, when? Like, do we get it over with? Right?
Get it over with.
I'd rather fight now than we can at least go play. Like,
let's just do it in warm up. Get it over with.
I don't care. I don't care how, and I feel like, the LaRocques and those super, super tough guys would probably agree with us that I don't think it ever went away. The fact that you never know how it's going to go. You can always get caught, like, Big Earn and those guys, like, such tough humans. I don't know that I don't know if it was ever easy for them either.
Yeah. Oh, you're bang on, dude. Fuck, the butterflies suck. And yeah, you did it because you had to. Your draft, like, were you expected to get drafted? Were you blown away? I'm assuming you weren't there. I went second day. I shouldn't have gone.
I didn't go. No, I I know I was on that central scouting list, but it's like, I think it was like 180th North America or something like absurd where it's like,
You were deep.
You might, it's cool to be on the list. Like maybe I'll save this central scouting list for the scrapbook, for my kid. But no, I ended up actually just, hanging out at home and just going to like a barn party and just, I didn't even think about it for the weekend. I just, there was like a, local 4-H party or something, like a meat draw or something, like all the community was at. And then I woke up the morning, my phone rang and that said, "Hey buddy, like you got drafted." And I was like, okay, like don't recognize this number. Like, okay, guy, and then,
you thought you were getting pranked?
Thought I was getting pranked. So I was like, oh, okay. And then, I don't know, like, I honestly don't even know if my parents had internet at the house. So I don't, like, it's not like you can rip your phone and check, like, I got to see this 9th round draft. Like, did I go or not? And then, the scout from the Lightning called me a couple hours later to welcome me to the organization. So I was like, okay, fuck, this is actually legit. Like, again, not feeling like, okay, 9th round. I'm like, well, that's cool. But like, I don't know. Wasn't like, ultimately, like, it's great, but I think there were teams that actually had passed at points before I got drafted. So I was like, it's cool. Like they grabbed me, like felt good about it, but it wasn't, you're not sitting there like, fuck it. I'm Eric Stahl or I'm, Dion or someone that went early and you're going to play in the NHL the next year.
So you mentioned your coach beforehand who kind of gave you the advice to fight. Who was also in your corner as far as like maybe a scout for the Lightning? Like, did you find out who was in your corner basically like, we need to take this guy with the 9th round pick?
I don't know who, like, I don't know who in the Lightning. I mean, I know Bill Barber was probably the one that was pushing for it. He played in Philly in those hard days. So I'm assuming he would have been one of the ones. Jay Feaster loved me the whole time. When I actually got to go to the camps, like I had a great relationship with like Nigel Kerwin, the video coach who's still there. I still talk to him like every week. Like Jeff Reese was there. I ended up just having a great rapport with all the staff. And I think anybody that I got to spend time with at rookie camps was like, this guy's fighting. He's, having fun in the locker room. I don't know what he's doing at the nighttime, but he's here and he's having fun with the boys. And
apparently not a lot. You were a good kid. Did that transition into when you first got on your own? Because that's where I had a hard time adjusting, where I was like you, I didn't booze growing up. Like I was very focused on like advancing in hockey. And then when I first got to pro, all of a sudden you got money, there's no billet parents, you don't have a curfew, well, at least not on game nights for most teams or non-game nights. Like, did you start getting to the bottle more, or were you always like pretty straight-laced and stayed disciplined?
Now those younger years, like I kept it pretty respectable. Just on the weekends, on the when you had your day off, like me and Andre DeVoe lived together in Springfield, and like I was only 19 too, so there was not really an opportunity to be buying beers or going to the bars because it was just too much headache. So I'd been going to the bars for a couple of years, once in a while in Alberta at 18, but for the most part, staying out of it. And then now you're not 21, so I wasn't trying to make a huge scene, like trying to get in the bars every night and making, having the brass from the Lightning find out that the underage kids on the minor league team are making scenes down in Springfield. Like,
right. So you were raised right, man. Good for you, man. That's awesome that you stayed really disciplined and held yourself accountable. Now, what was it like when you finally got the call? Like, how did it all, was it out of camp? Like, that was my first experience. I made the team at a training camp where I was like fucking in shock. Was yours like a mid-season call-up? Like, do you remember getting the phone call or the coach calling you in to say, hey, you're going up to the pros?
Me and Evgeny Artukin got brought in together. And we only played 2 or 3 games in Springfield, and then we got brought in, and it was kind of like, it was a big time salary cap issue still in those days, right? It was low, like 30, 40 million. And so we got brought in. It was, hey guys, don't leave town today. Like, don't be going to Boston. You might be going up. And we're like, okay. And then they had to wait till a certain time. I think it was 3 p.m. And then Derek Graham called and said, okay, you two are going. And then we ended up meeting the team in Atlantic City, I think. I think we ended up meeting there, and then they were on some trip, and then we ended up flying to Atlanta or something from there.
All right. And then, I mean, you walk into that locker room. I think Torts was there that year, right? Vinny LeCavalier. I believe St. Louis was still there at the time, maybe Brad Richards. That was a loaded locker room. How intimidated were you walking in? Were you a mega hockey fan growing up to where you were watching all the games? So you were like, oh my God, these guys brought these guys a Stanley Cup. Like, these are legends of the game.
We had Dave Anderchuk, we had Freddie Modine, Daryl Sador. It was like, holy shit, you know? Ultimately, like a Hall of Fame group. And I don't really you hop on and it's like, honestly, Torts came up to us at the first practice and he brought us aside. He's like, Tarns, Artie, just play hard, but when you get the puck, get rid of it, get off. And we're like, all right. He's like, get Vinny a rest. You'll get another shift, go bang some bodies, get off. If you don't want to do it, somebody will. And we're like, fuck, okay, that sounds great. Like, you can't really screw up. Get the puck, get the line, get it deep. Fucking awesome. Very
Simplify.
So then we ended up playing 8 or 10 games, and then I went back down, played a few more games later in the year, but yeah, I think I played 10 or 12 that first year, and then made the team out of camp the next year.
Anderchuk, I mean, at that point, that's probably as old school then as you could have gotten. How old was he? He must have been like 40 by that time. Just a tree out in front of the net. He might have even still been using a wood twig. What was it like being in the presence of someone that old school?
Unbelievable, man. Like, it's you just, and I love talking, and like as I got older, like you couldn't shut me up in the locker room. But like in those days, it's like, man, just shut the fuck up and just listen to what's Dave saying, what's Dave doing, you know, what's Brad Richards doing, like what's he doing? Just watch it, because it's pretty fucking cool. You know, Vinny was always great to me. Marty's always great to me. Like, these are guys that you, like, even the young kids I coach now, still, like, when I bring up an example of, you know, you're not going to score as many fucking goals as Vinny did, they understand who that is, right? And it's pretty cool to be like, hey, I got to play with those guys and they treated me really well. And it's like, it'll never, like, you know, they all reached out to me this weekend just being like, hey, making sure you're okay, seeing the vid, like, all right, man, you know, just checking on you. So it's still pretty cool. They're always great. And you don't ever forget those memories. Like, you'll have those, like, probably with Mario, right? And or someone like that in Pitt.
There was a few
never
from training camp. Yeah, a few from training camp where you're just, you're like, oh my God, like, this is the guy. Here he is live in the flesh. Like, wow, how does he carry himself so cool? And then you see him walk in a room and there's other people in the room and you see the air come out of the room and they're all just in shock. So it's kind of crazy to be in front of people that presence. Obviously, Lemieux is a different level. I like to observe too, like in the locker room, like the dynamic. You had this coach and John Tortorella, and also I believe kind of towards the end of his time there, because he can wear thin on players. What was the dynamic like between Vinny and those guys? Where if like Torts got barking, like, did you have, like, would they go back and forth? I mean,
Vinny and him would, like, if fucking Torts even looked at me, it was just like, oh nope, not even in the room. But Vinny would challenge him, and like they'd get into it, and I'm like, this is fucking unbelievable. Like, I don't even want to say good morning to Torts. I'm so fucking scared. And Vinny's like, no, fuck that. Not a chance in fuck. That's how I want to play. And I was like, you know what, this is great. And Torts, I genuinely feel like Torts loved it and challenged the better, stronger players to challenge him and let's hash this out. Let's get better as a group. Like, I loved it. I mean, playing for Torts was fucking nerve-wracking, and that's why I'm bald. But I loved it. Like, it was so much fucking fun. Like, you keep your nose clean, you do the right thing, and you get some opportunity with him. It's unbelievable.
Hey, he's made a shit ton of money coaching. We should get him to get you a Turkish hair transplant. Like, Torch should at least give you that. And any other player that he's coached, they should get a Turkish hair transplant on him. He could probably get a good deal on one. I think that the Barstool guys all went over there free of charge. They just had to promote it. So we'll have to fire up the social media for Torts. Any other, would you accept, by the way, if he offered to buy you a Turkish hair transplant, Torts?
If he came, he'd have to come with me. Hold my hand.
He is getting a little thin up here. He's got kind of the widow's, like the two harbors. God, now I got distracted by this Turkish hair transplant nonsense. Any other crazy funny stories between like you, Torts, or that team that you remember? Like, what was you only played 11 games, you said, your first year. Did you have to pay for rookie dinner, or was your rookie dinner the next year?
No, I didn't go. I don't even think I was there for the rookie dinner, so I didn't have to give the option. We did it the next year, and it was fucking actually unbelievable because we did it in Calgary, which I was living in Calgary the summer. So big boy walks into Cowboys dance hall, and guess what? Daddy's home.
Daddy's home. That is unbelievable. No, you can't call yourself daddy because Shafe Daddy has that nickname now. So he took it.
I was in those days anyway.
You can have
though.
Tarnasky. I'm no longer. I'm just Biz now. You're Tarnasky, especially after this past week's events. But what? So you go on a Cowboys? Like, did you guys have to tell the joke? And do you remember how much you had to pay? And
yeah, we did it. I think it was Calgary Chop House, as just downtown, just like kitty corner from Cowboys in those days. And we did it. Just closed doors dinner we did together, the group. And we did our jokes. I think that's all we made us do, just to give a joke. And then
how were you?
I think I told something inappropriate. And I think a few of the boys laughed, but it's like a pretty hard group to get going. Like,
they've been to a lot of rookie dinners, and it takes a lot to impress that group.
Like, I think I was probably one of the better rookies, but like to try to get Brad Richards to laugh, like I mean, it's impossible.
It'd probably be something like weird and diabolical, and he'd be like, not just see. Whit says he's got like 8 golf memberships at all these fancy courses. You should have him fucking join yours. You could be his protector. I got a question from the chat here, my buddy. Did Torts reach out to you after that video?
No.
Oh no. Who was the most surprising person to reach out? Like, whether it was like a celebrity, like,
dude, Jerry Ferrara from Entourage reached out today. That was pretty badass.
Turtle?
Yeah. So I was like, fuck, that's pretty cool. He asked me to go tee it up with him. So I was like, fucking right, bring Johnny Drama. Let's go. We'll do a golf match. We'll get him on your team. What was the most old school thing that Dave Andrewchuk would do, just like from watching him? Did something stand out to you? Honestly, he was 40 whatever years old, and he'd still be the last guy on the ice. Stick work, tipping pucks every day, nonstop. Like, I don't know how many. What has he got? 600, 700, 800 power play goals. You know why? Nonstop tips every single day, and then net drives. Wraps,
was he nasty at it? Like, just watching him, would they shoot 100 in a row and boom, 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 boom anywhere they shot it?
Didn't miss a single one. Like, fucking unbelievable. Like, you couldn't. I don't think you could pay him to miss one.
That's fucked. Hey, and the craziest part about it, Donor was pretty good at him. I would watch him. They would have the D-man not just sift these things in. They were full-blown clappers, and they wouldn't care. They wouldn't blink, and they'd be coming in at about 90 miles an hour, 95 rockets. Who was the one shooting them usually? Sidor?
Well, yeah, it would be like Sidor or that Pavel Kubina absolutely fucking hammering biscuits at him. I'm like, holy shit, like he could rip it. And so he would pound the puck, and yeah, Dave would just, it was fucking crazy. Like, you can't honestly, you can't teach it. You can either do it or you can't. Like, you can't teach that. It's just, it was phenomenal.
Ridiculous. Like, probably I would say that he would go down as net front Mount Rushmore. Like, net front
for
tip
sure.
guy, he would go. That would be a fun list to assemble. I don't have any other at the top of my head. I mean, Pavelski was good, but I don't know if he's top 4 all time. I don't want to sound ignorant like usual. So you played like a good like chunk. You played 77 games and 80 games in the second and third season with Tampa. Like the trade, like did it happen? Did you just not sign there? You end up going over to Nashville for, it looked like part of 1 year, and then got dealt to Florida. So, I mean, how was your experience there, and how'd you take the trade or signing?
So I got sent over to Nashville, like, from the European Premier with a broken thumb. And so that didn't really go so good. I wasn't really ready to play, and I ended up fighting Frusty like my first night. And I'm like, I can barely even hold a stick, but
well, back it up. How did you start that sentence? What?
So I had a broken thumb from camp. I got hit with a slap shot, And I was
Okay.
like,
But you said
and I
something
was-
about
we
a
were-
premiere from somewhere?
yeah, we were in Prague or one of those NHL premieres. Like, so I was overseas with the Lightning, and I got sent home in the trade. So I got moved to Nashville from like Slovakia or somewhere with didn't even have running shoes. And then like I got kind of thrown into the fire with Nashville, kind of not like, I mean, had a broken thumb. I wasn't really ready to play, and ended up fighting Prusty. And then, yeah, just wasn't a good fit for me. It wasn't really I don't think I was the guy they were looking for. I mean, they wanted somebody to replace Hordichuk, who was, I think, a little above my level of fighting.
Fuck, dude, he was so tough. I had to fight him one time in Vancouver, and you really understand how tough a guy is till the reaction of some of the guys and the way that they come and say, "Hey, great job out there," and you're like, "Oh God, I guess I survived that one." Apparently.
Yeah, so that it just wasn't a good fit. And then I think I was only there for about a month. It wasn't going great for either side. And I got shipped over to Florida, and then had a decent second half of that year. And then the next year I ended up getting jumped by Chris Neal in preseason and broke my orbital bone. And so I missed another half year. And then
what'd you get jumped for?
Just in a scrum, kind of an unnecessary. I honestly don't even remember. Like, there was no video. It was in like Halifax or somewhere. Like, don't even really remember what happened. And then kind of just a lucky break. And then came back fighting there at the end of the year, but it just didn't really. I think too much time had passed that it was kind of like not really fitting in anywhere anymore.
It's always hard when you go from the NHL down to the minors, and like, you finish off in Florida, you played 34 games and then 31 your last year. And like, so then you go down to the minors with Rochester, and then the following years, other than the season in the KHL, and we will get to that. How hard was it for you to like make the adjustment back to the minors? Were you bummed out by it? Were you just grateful at the fact that you got to spend that time in the NHL being a 9th round draft pick and a guy where, you maybe didn't expect to get to that level of hockey?
Yeah, I think exactly. Like, I don't think there was much pouting. Not those years. Like, again, it was grateful exactly to have got to spend time with those Hall of Fame players and have those stories and have those experiences. And then, I went back to Springfield for a year, and then Rochester for a year, Hamilton. I mean, they're all fun years. Got to mentor some kids, got to, have a few more fights, have a few more, good laughs, couple of good years. Got to play with a bunch of buddies that I'd played with in the past, like that San Diego year. I don't think coming back down to the minors is that hard for me. Just kind of maybe realizing that now in that role, there's only so many players that you can, there's one per team, and then it kind of got phased out. And then you got the new up and comers, you got your new 9th round draft pick that they're high on, or their new 6th round pick that they're high on. They've got their kid to the minors that they're already kind of slotting in. So it was tough to kind of get another sandpaper roll back. And then, yeah, you just kind of get lost in the shuffle, and I just never really found my way back.
So the year in the KHL, you played for this team. You had 173 penalty minutes there. And the guys on this team, I think Morasti was there. And this was kind of in the era where they had one team that just had all these mutants on it. And if I'm not mistaken, would the owner come down and like tell you guys, yeah, I want you guys to start a brawl off the opening draw and get the fans going? Okay, so how did you find yourself in this situation? Who did your agent call and say, I got this opportunity over in the KHL?
Yeah, surprisingly, I was golfing. I get a call like, hey, man, I don't know if his offer's legit, but give this guy a shout. And so I gave a shout over, and it's like, yeah, like, we want to bring you over to Vita's. And then they're like, and I knew because like Gratz had been there before, and Simon was over there before. And I was like, okay, that's that fucking tough guy team. Like, all right, well, I don't know if there's really anybody that fights them. So like, yeah, let's go over there and check it out. And they're like, oh no, they told me like, yeah, don't even worry. You're not even going to be like the tough guy. So I'm like, fuck, that's even better news. Cause like, and then in my mind, I'm like, well, who's coming over there? And then like, I get over there, me and Kip Brennan show up there together. And And then 2 weeks later, Johnny and Yabo show up, and I'm like,
oh
holy
my
fuck.
God. Oh my
Look at these
God.
guys.
So you're the
Like,
fourth
fuck, all right,
fucking
this is
guy.
the-
You must be loving it.
This is the best. Fucking two fucking toughest guys in the minors are now with us. Love it.
I've talked about Yago many a times in this pod. He fucking bambied me so much. He was nails. John Morasti, you could punch him with a bowling ball on your fist, and he's going to take 4 in the noggin, and your hand's going to be broken, and then he's going to take over the fight. And then Kip Brennan, like, he was a fucking super heavy in the AHL too. Like, he was a fucking heavy in the show at some point. So, like, I would assume that most teams in the K at that time didn't even have a heavy. Why the need for 4 guys? And what was your experience like with this owner? Was he just a scary fucking guy?
He was actually awesome. Like, I'll tell you what, it wasn't the nicest setup. It wasn't the nicest town, but you couldn't treat someone better. Like, with what they had and what that town could offer, you couldn't have been treated better. Like, the community would come, like, you go sit down in a restaurant, all of a sudden a ball of something shows up on your table, and some big guy with a leather jacket's waving, like, thumbs up, and like, it was such a rewarding experience to be treated like that from a community and from an organization that they bring you in, that you know what they're asking of you, and you wear your heart on your sleeve for them. And fuck, we'd be boxing with like Povetkin and going through like the Vitas, training with these guys and having fun with other athletes. And then we'd head out to that, the boys have talked about it on here before, to this farm that they had with like the wolves and the machine guns and the vodka. And like, it was a blast. The owner, he didn't speak much English, so his son would translate. So it'd be like, hey, boss wants to talk to you. Then the 3 of you would talk. So he'd translate something, and then he'd be just like, yeah. And it'd be like, what's he saying? He's like, loved your fight yesterday. And he's just like, and it was fucking awesome. They'd show up at the hotel, guy in the leather jacket in the blacked out Land Rover, and it'd be like, come. I'm like, oh fuck, what are we doing? Nothing. Gives you $1,000, goes, throw in your suitcase, and then we're headed out to the farm. And so it'd give you $1,000 or $2,000, or just throw you a bunch of dough for whatever you did previous. Like, we had a couple brawls that he had come in with, like the big entourage, Hells Angels, like all these Russian mafia guys
Into the room?
Box, come in the room in the intermission, and he'd be talking in Russian, getting all the boys fired up. And we're like, fuck, what's he saying? And then it'd be like, he goes out, and then that Andre Nazarov, our coach, would be like, you guys got to go make something happen. Like, boss wants to see some action. So then you've probably seen those videos. Me and Johnny are out there chasing people around. They're jumping in the bench. We're suckering guys. And boss would be like, you could see him. He'd standing up in his suite. He's clapping. He's just like, this is great. And then you get your $1,000.
It was his toy. It's his toy.
Unbelievable. And like, he'd bring us to like the local restaurants. He'd have these spreads. He'd bring us to the bowling alley, these spreads, like nice people. He'd have rides for us. Like, you couldn't say a bad thing, other than maybe the look that we got from doing the stupid shit, racking up. I think Yabo might have had 300 in 20 games that year, something crazy. And
Kip Brennan had 204. He had 240. Yablonski had it. That was, by the way, that was in 14 games. Yablonski 16 games, 174 PIMs. Morasti 197, and then where are you at? Fuck, this is too good. Yeah, you were 173. I said that earlier. Oh my god, so you guys are just terrorizing the league.
Aside from that look where I was like, fuck, I'm probably never playing in another league again, just because it's nonsense. Like, it was such a unbelievable experience. Like, when my dad came, we went to Moscow for New Year's. Like, we went down the Red Square, and like you got to just experience so much cool shit that you'd never seen in your lifetime, while being treated so well by people that were just happy to have guys there that were, acting like meatheads, but also we were pillars in the community there. I couldn't walk to the grocery store without a car stopping, and they'd come out, shake your hand, and they'd just say Vitas, Vitas, and they'd be so excited, and it was fucking awesome.
So you
loved
basically
it.
felt like you were back in the NHL, if not better, because you were playing in these southern states where like nobody knows you walking around. So you kind of get that feeling like you almost did back in junior.
It was
I got to
great.
ask you a couple things though more about that. So Nazarov, the coach, I've heard some crazy antics from him. What was the most like Russian shit you would see just from on a day-to-day basis where you're like, okay, that's definitely not how we do shit. This is blowing my mind right now. Like you can go down a rabbit hole if you want. And also about this coach Nazarov.
The one thing that stands out to me, there was a game in maybe Dynamo, or I can't remember what the team was, but I remember like he ends up like hitting fans with sticks, and like Panarin's hitting fans with sticks, and like it's all because like I lost a draw and we got scored on. He's like hitting people, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And he's looking at me like, you lost the fucking draw, man. And I'm like, well, fuck, I don't know. I've played 32 minutes tonight. We have 9 skaters. Like, I don't know what you want. So I just remember that out of him. And like, he would have us doing every morning hurdles, 10 sets of 10 hurdles and 500 push-ups every morning. And I'm like, dude, like I'm 240 pounds. Like I can't do one fucking hurdle. So he's like, okay, then 20 sets of stairs. You choose. Like, all right.
Did you get there for training camp?
Yeah, it wasn't as bad. Like it wasn't nearly as bad in theirs. Like, and he also was pretty cool since he played in the NHL with like us guys that played in North America. Didn't make us do the stuff. We had this huge tractor tire there. And so if you could go and lift the tractor tire and flip it without it touching itself, you're exempt from the next part of the training camp. So you got to just go play soccer. So some kids would have to rip the tire back and forth down this parking lot 50 times. But if you're strong enough to rip it once, exempt. So he was pretty good to us.
Did you ever ask them why they just go so hardcore? Why it's such a thing? Like, they seem like a type of culture where they go hard at everything. Like whether it's training or drinking or whatever, they just go hard.
Yeah. I never really got too much into it with them. Just, chit chat here and there, but for the most part, like try to keep to ourselves as best we could.
No, I just meant more so in like your experience there and just kind of like, just being curious of how they do things so differently. You mentioned him already. That was one of the other questions I had, Panarin. So you got to watch a young Panarin where there was a clip that just came out. I think it was a Cam and Strick podcast that they had Revo on. And he said that, they'd be playing basketball when they played together in New York, and he'd be up till 4 a.m. with them ripping this Russian vodka and playing hoops at his place. And he just said he's the biggest beauty, just very chill, nonchalant, high intellect, and just loves the game.
Loves the game. It was actually, we never heard of him because he was like 18 and I was already like 27 or whatever. Like, and in practice, like it was like watching a little Kovalev fucking rip around fiddling and sniping. And I was like, damn, this kid's nasty, man. Like I wish I would have understood how good he really was when watching him at that age to see like where he is now. I'm like, fuck, that's unbelievable. Because I didn't really put it together in my head, like how good this kid was. And I'm so proud of him, how he was able to turn, that from that team with obviously, I think he got stopped playing with me for 20 games. So to turn that into playing the career he's turned it into, it's unbelievable. Like he was a lot of fun to watch. Watching him on the PP with some of the other skilled Russian kids was just phenomenal. Like it's undescribable to watch. Like just remembering the practice, we'd always play a 3-on-3 at the end or 4-on-4 with those kids. And it was just, if he played, it was a totally different game than if he didn't.
You guys had a tough year though, only 16 wins. But yeah, you seem to have such a positive experience from it. Now, going back to that question, what were the most shocking things you saw while there where you were like, oh, fuck, I'm not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy?
Fuck. I don't know. You'd see like a full pig head in a freezer just sitting there. You'd see, I don't know.
Like just like at the rink?
No, like just like you go to a grocery store, you think you're going to grab some burgers or something. Like, no, there's just a pig head in there. Open the freezer. Ah, fuck, wrong one. Like the village that we'd go to with Boss was the wildest thing with that. There was that wolf that lived there, and he'd be pacing around and Buddy checking every vehicle with the AK-47. That was wild. He had like all these furs, all these tiger furs and bear furs and all this stuff there. Like, where did you get this, man? Like, it was crazy. We'd hit the sauna there.
He would go out on these wild hunts.
I'm assuming so. He had them all, and we'd go from building to building. Each building had some different furs and some different activity we'd do there. We'd go to one building and eat, then he'd hustle us off to the next building, and we'd do like 10 vodka shots. Then he'd rip us into the sauna. We had Buddy in there. You got 10 naked guys in there, and you got Buddy hitting us with the big
the leaves,
the big leaves, and we're like, what the fuck?
So they went hardcore,
like, hey, boys, let's hit the river now. Now we're all laying in the river, and it's like, man, what the fuck? This is too much. But it was a lot of fun. Like, I'd have to look back at my camera and relive some of the stuff. The getting paid in a manila envelope was fucking priceless too. You get like 10K and 1,000 ruble bills or whatever, $10,000 ruble bills, and you're like, what is this even? And like, I'm hiding it in the locker room because they'd give it to you before practice. I'm like, fuck, where am I putting this, man? And
you're
trying to rip
strapping it to you're putting it in your fucking jock, and it
was bizarre.
And you're taking it easy that day. You're not sweating too much. That's wild. How'd you get the money home? And I have so many questions. This property this guy was on, was it the most insane compound you'd ever seen? Were the structures nice, or was it kind of like run down and just like a bunch of land out in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, it's kind of both. Like, there'd be a nice, like, a main house that was nice and all done up, and there'd be kind of like a little garagey type one, but then you walk in and it's got like granite countertops, and you're kind of blown away that like, what's going on here? And then, a lady would come in and she'd just rip down like 10 different trays of some type of delicacy. Like, you have no clue where you're eating, and he's just like, Nicholas, eat. And I'm like, fuck, I don't even know what this is, dude. Like, oh, that was horse. Like, oh, fuck, man. I wasn't trying to eat a horse.
Are you kidding? They eat like fucking shit over there. It's crazy.
Oh, those stupid, those little bead things that they're big on. What are those things called? Fuck, caviars everywhere.
Fucking
I'm like,
brutal.
no way, man.
Brutal. I hate the popping in your mouth. Oh.
We're like, no, we can't do it, man.
God, this has been awesome, dude. I appreciate your time, buddy. You're a fucking beauty. You know what's even crazier is because of all this happening and you wanting to get this story out, and people kind of, as much as you're getting patted on the back and as viral it's got, you're showing the human element where there's going to be consequences for this guy. Hopefully that DUI story is not the case, but if it is, goddamn. And just, the empathy, if, after this, it's tough to live that out on your worst moment in front of everybody online.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he paid for it enough, and it's not something, a guy needs to get, ran through the walls about. It's done with. It got dealt with. A lot of people had a good laugh, but you don't have to, we don't have to continue to pound this guy down. Like, enough's enough. Leave it. And,
Yeah, and hopefully he kind of turns it around, man. Hopefully he's not trying to scrap people on the golf course, and he maybe tones down the drinking a little bit. And yeah, but the other cool thing though is you're going to be on the podcast. The reason I got there is with Gene Principe, so it's a cool Alberta connection here with all the Oilers talk. So how did it all end, and like when did you know it was time to just say, hey, it's over?
So that last year San Diego, I actually got in a car accident 30 games or 35 games in. I got rear-ended like a block from my house, and that honestly, that was the worst concussion I've ever had between fighting and anything. So I ended up, I don't know if you played or not. I played my very last game at Ontario, and I mean, I knew that was my last game because I'd missed I was 33, 34. I missed 35 consecutive games. Honestly, like, I was waking up some days not even know if I'd be able to like get to the store. Like, so that was it. That was it for me. And then I worked out that year, but I didn't really want to play anymore. It was like, hey, if someone calls and offers, maybe, but in my mind, I knew I think it's probably best not only for like my health, but at this age, like, let's move on with life here and try to get to the next stage versus trying to slug out another year for $100,000 and have another 15 fights. Like, I think that for me, the car accident was enough, and I think I'm also pretty. It was a great send off year because I got to play a lot of golf that last couple of weeks with, Gennin and Tokarski and Trop and guys that I played with in the past. And we had a great finish to the year. And then I got to go on the playoff run with the boys still and be part of it all. Just from the sidelines. And I mean, I'm definitely at peace with it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like kind of got to ride it out in style where I know you couldn't contribute on the ice, but hey man, living in San Diego, and sorry to hear about the car accident, brother, and the way it ended. And we had, I guess, somewhat similar paths, man. Mine kind of ended my last year too. I tore both my ACLs, and interesting to hear about all your journey, really. So thank you so much for joining us. There was a few more questions. My buddy Jeff asked, what did you shoot the day that you got in the scrap? Like, what was your round?
Fuck, 81.
Fuck off.
That was hole 4. We played off the back, so that was only hole, like the fight was on 15. So I played, I think I was only 2 over. I birdied 15 I parred 15. It was like a 20-foot putt after the fight. I doubled 16 because the comps came, I picked up. And then I think I birdied 18, and then I think I shot like 37 or something on the front.
Wow.
I put the hand in the ice bag, and then the beer cooler each shot and dried it off and snapped it around.
That is the most hockey golf story the world has ever heard right there. What a question by my buddy Jeff. I just had a couple more just because we glanced by Nasty Morasti and Yablonsky, and they're kind of these like folk heroes on this podcast we talk about because I had my experiences with them. You obviously did. Now Morasti's doing the Shorzy, so he's off to bigger and better things. So is Yabo. Yabo's doing great. Talked to him not too long ago. But what was it just like playing with those guys? And they're somewhat related or like very close to each other. So they must have just been at each other's throats all day chirping each other, no?
Again, like just goes hand in hand with that whole experience, like being over there with those guys, like every day was a fucking riot. Like, what are they going to do today? Like, are we going to fight someone in practice? Are we going to fight each other? Like, or do we think we're now power play guys? Like, where are we today, boys? Like, we would, fucking push and shove each other. We'd go, I don't know what the fuck Yabo was eating. He'd be getting like 14 eggs for breakfast. And I'm like, dude, how do you even function? Like, we'd go over to his house. He's doing push-ups. He's doing chin-ups. Like,
he's a
did
tank.
you ever see the fucking magazine, dude, that we did with those two?
No.
Oh my God. I got to send that to you.
In Russia, they did a big photo op.
Yeah. And like, Yabo's just like, bang. It's just like, I've never seen so much muscle on a human in my life. I don't know what, like we go to the gym, have dinner, head back to the rink and work out at 8 o'clock. And like, those two were absolute such beauties, lifting heavy, chirping each other, pushing each other, trying to fight each other, talking about all the old days, telling everyone about their fights. Like it was just such an incredible experience. Like you couldn't ask for 2 better dudes to like share that with and look back on and be like, fuck, like even just the other day talking to Johnny, and I'm like, cause he did that Ice Wars and he's like, oh, trying to see if I could come, and we just start hashing about the old days. Like, fuck, remember this? And it's like, holy fuck, yeah, that did happen. Like all the, fights. I think me and Kip fought once, and then I think him and Yabo fought once. And like, they're such great people that, and they do a great job with it for how tough they are, how they treat other people and how they, interact with community. And it was like, honestly, like living in a cartoon. Just what's going to happen today with the boys, and, playing fucking soccer in Russia, or they make us go run after, and the 4 of us would be like, you're making us fucking run in a blizzard. Like, fuck this. We just go inside, and they're like they have the stones to be like, Nazi, we ain't doing this. And he'd be like, fuck it. Why is it Nick doing it? And I'm like, well, if they're not doing it, I'm not doing it. They're like, they're fucking tougher than you. You go do it. I'm like, fuck off. I'm not running in a blizzard. They're like, all right, well, you're off at this time. And I'm like, fuck, thanks, boys. Like, I don't have the stones to not do it, but it was great playing with them. It was absolute pleasure. Like one of those ones where I wish we could have stayed together as a group longer, because I think with that group, you could have, with the young talent and the toughness, it would be, you could have probably built on it. But then, Gills went over there the next year and had a pretty good go-to at it. So, no, it was unbelievable. It was every day was a pleasure with those two.
Well, it's awesome because like not everybody's experience over there is good, and it sounds like even though you guys didn't play like or win a lot, you had the best time ever. Well, what last one I have for you is, what are you doing now other than doing security at the golf course?
I sell cars at a Chrysler dealership back home.
Okay. All right.
Salesman extraordinaire.
What's the dealership?
It's Summit Ram in Pinoca, Alberta. So if anybody's looking for a great deal on a pre-owned vehicle or a new Ram, give me a shout. I also work part-time at my dad's lumberyard Roosters in Caroline. Help him out on the weekends if he needs gotta throw some wood around. We've had that for like 4 or 5 years now. So do that once in a while to help him out. And then I just teed up and get in fights once in a while.
Well, buddy, I hope that I think this is going to open up some doors for you, like, because you did the right thing and stuck up for people being harassed at a golf course. So I wish you the best in managing all these texts and calls coming in. But it was great to just chat with you, man. Like we played against each other. I didn't know much about you, but this is just a great, refreshing conversation. And for those of you listening, I didn't establish it off the top. Jans and Whit couldn't join. They're on vacation, and this was kind of something that happened like spur of the moment. So I felt like it was obviously our duty to cover it. And yeah, it was just good to hear you, like you said, like put more of a human perspective on it and give us the full breakdown, yet a little bit of levity, and just let everybody know about your career, man. So best of luck in whatever you're doing now, and keep it going.
Yeah, appreciate it. I love having a chance to get on here and chat with you. It's been a while, so loved it. And hope we can chat again soon.
Love it, buddy. Thanks so much. Nick Tarnasky. Tarnasty.
Guys, we got big news in the Spittin Chiclets world. We just launched our co-branded hockey training aids with Skills, the leading sports skill training brand. Now you can go to Dick's Sporting Goods and see Spittin Chiclets on the shelves. We just released training aids for players of all ages, and we actually just used these training aids at the Yandle Hockey Camp. Incredible work by Skills. Awesome Spittin Chiclets logos all over them. We have the universal shooting target, hockey shooting trainer, and the foam shooting targets. That's the coolest thing for the kids. They love ripping it off those. Perfect for the driveway or on the ice. These products will help your offensive game in a big way. The universal shooting target builds a visual focus to improve shooting accuracy. Very important. By the way, I saw Connor Bedard working on his little toe drag release recently. You know he could be using the Skills hockey training aids. The hockey shooting trainer features 5 target areas and helps build the vision and muscle memory needed to increase scoring percentages. And the foam shooting targets have quick hook and loop attachments for multiple shot locations. And like I said, kids love burying this thing, big celebrations. And then you hook and loop it right back on. Easy, easy, easy to use. Go get the brand new Skills and Spittin Chiclets hockey training aids, now available online and in-store at Dick's Sporting Goods.
Well, once again, thank you to Nick Tarnasky. Pretty crazy story about how this all transpired. And Whit, I mean, the guy challenged 7 people on the golf course because they were trying to get him to play a little faster, even though he was buckled. And, you know, when you're threatening people like that, and you guys saw the video also, he was the instigator. He's the one who ended up going after Tarnasky. So I don't think anything will happen beyond this other than the guy taking fault for it. Tarnasky putting the beat down. But I'm really happy that everybody got to hear about his playing career, because there's a lot more to this guy than just a dust-up at a golf course, including those wild KHL stories. But
him playing on that team
with
Nasty, Marasti, Kip Brennan. I mean, imagine knowing imagine knowing if you're buckled on a golf course, you're like, I'm about to just go toe-to-toe with a guy who played in the KHL on the biggest goon squad the KHL's ever seen. That's kind of where you're like, I got to go home. I need to go home. So, unreal job by you, dude. Great guy. And thank you so much, Tarnasky. We appreciate it. And, buddy, stay out of his way on a golf course. Let him play through.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be taking off here to fly fishing, but the next interview is unbelievable. And it's kind of sticking with that Alberta theme. And a guy that we wanted to get on for a very long time, Gene Principe. He's provided so much to the game of hockey. With his humor, his insight, his interactions with the players, and especially for those people in Edmonton where he's beloved, hometown kid. I'm sure you guys will be happy about this one too. And Whit, like, I think that it was kind of nice to maybe get some words of encouragement about Connor probably coming back too. That was the one big thing that stuck out from the interview for me, and he seems very confident that they'll be able to get it done. And yeah, it was just great hearing Gene's story and why he brings what he does to the broadcast.
Buddy, have a great time fly fishing. Send me some pics. I've been fly fishing before. You have to have soft hands. So I don't know if you're gonna. I don't know if you're gonna catch anything.
I'll just bring my one hitter.
Just bring your shrooms and your one hitter and just sit there and look at the beautiful mountains and the amazing landscape, and then just worry about the other people catching the fish. Okay, buddy?
I should have got a lesson from Lil Sask. Fishy was letting me know before we hopped on here, and I think that we were actually talking about it when we were at the Ryder Cup. But he's a fly fishing expert, which I didn't expect from Lil Sask. But
I could see that though. I remember bringing that up. All right,
the
buddy.
man of many talents. See you later, everybody.
Have a
great summer.
I actually remember talking to Lil Sass about that. And when I did it the one time in Vail, Colorado, I thought the guy was telling me to like have it land and then pull it up and have it land and pull it up. And Sass is like, that's completely incorrect. You want to let it sit. You want to have it very calm. I guess I was getting bad teaching, or I was just bad at it. So I know Biz is going to be horrible at fly fishing. Horrible. He can't. He couldn't make a breakout pass. How are you supposed to just have this tiny little, lure? I mean, I talk about not being good at fishing. Just be soft hands, soft on the water. Biz is going to be sitting there smoking, talking to people about like Biz does BC. And they're going to be like, we're trying to like reel in this monster in Jackson. So congrats to Biz on a great interview. Thank you guys for tuning in. And Gene Principe now. I met Gene right when I got traded to the Oilers. Great guy, very friendly. And I had no idea about the puns and how he would kind of bring his energy to the show in terms of what the game broadcast was. He's been a great dude. He's actually, we mentioned in the interview, he's kind of popped off even more in the last few years. I think a lot of it has to do with how good the Oilers have become. But I mean, this guy is at the top of his game, and he talks about when he maybe wants to retire. Not for a long time. Don't worry, Oilers fans. But it was great to see him on the Cup Final broadcast for Sportsnet and all the things that he does to make the game fun for the fans, and maybe some stories when he might have pissed off some guys here and there. But Gene's an awesome dude. We sat down, I think it was over an hour with him, tell some great stories, told an old Wayne Gretzky story. And yes, Oilers fans, is another man close to the team confident that Connor McDavid will be back. He's not going anywhere. Don't worry. Don't panic. Enjoy your summer. He will re-sign. I don't know for how long, but this year coming up is not the last year Connor McDavid will be on the Edmonton Oilers. Don't worry and enjoy right now, Gene Principe. Guys, Whit here, and I want to talk about RO Sparks, a 2-in-1 prescription treatment for stronger, harder erections. Yes, that's right. RO Sparks will make your dick very hard, very strong, maybe a little longer if it's really, really, really hard. So RO Sparks dissolve under your tongue, meaning they hit your bloodstream faster than pills, so you can get ready for action quicker. Once the medication dissolves, they work in about 15 minutes on average, giving you the boost you need for thicker, longer, harder erections, and helping you last longer for more fun for both of you. Now, at this point in my life, if I hit a monster drive 300 yards and I'm sitting in the middle of the fairway, I get a longer, stronger, harder erection. But when I'm not playing golf like I wish I was, and I'm slapping it around 220 and I'm hitting it out of bounds, that's when RO Sparks can come in handy for me, and they can come in handy for anyone. If you want a longer, stronger, thicker, harder erection, RO Sparks is where it's at. And plus, RO Sparks stay active in your system for up to 36 hours. That means you can be ready to go round after round, or even the morning after, and no need for awkward in-person doctor visits. Hey, doc, my dick doesn't get hard. No. RO connects you with a medical provider 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships right to your door. If prescribed, new sexual health patients get $15 off Sparks on a recurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/chiclets to find out if prescription RO Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/chiclets, CHICLETS, for $15 off your first order. We are now pleased to be joined by a very special guest. Everyone in Canada knows and loves this man, the king of the puns, Gene Principe. What's going on, buddy?
I'm at my Whitney's end here, getting started with you guys.
Nice.
I figured I'd just get one out of the way right of the way. Let's
quick.
just cross it off the list. We're good. Checklist is done. Now, listen, I got to say, guys, first of all, it's great to be with you. I was telling my daughter that she's a huge Oilers fan, a big hockey fan, and she's like, "Oh, you doing a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Which podcast?" And I told her, she paused. She goes, "Whoa." She goes, "Wow, you ever made it?" I'm
Long
doing podcasts.
overdue.
Well, you know what, Kevin Bieksa, who by the way, I'm like so many viewers who watch people on TV or watch them on their podcasts. And Biz, I saw you at the final. I mean, I'm just a fan at the end of the day who just happens to talk in front of a camera and have a microphone. But I love hearing about hockey and that time that you were, with you guys, that time you were down 3-1 and you came back and just, that's what fans love to hear, that inside conversation of what goes on. So Kevin said, I told those guys to put you on. So primary assist to Kevin, and thanks guys for having me on.
It was right outside our locker rooms anyway, before the finals in Florida, but long overdue, buddy. You're a legend in the game, and I'm actually glad we got you after the season in this setting so we could talk about your career and your evolution. But it's just a pleasure to have you on, and you've done so much for the game, and it was nice to see that Rogers Sportsnet put you on for the final. Like, was that the first time that you've been able to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I got to say, Biz, I kind of fell in love with Henrik Lundqvist.
Oh yeah, you and all of us, buddy.
I felt like
it's crazy.
I took a photo with him, and I'm wearing a nice suit. Sportsnet gives us some great suits, and I got a bit of color, from being on the beach.
Oh yeah, you did.
Just a little bit.
Did.
And I look at that photo, and I look like, oh my gosh, like this man is just a piece of art, perfection. Like it was incredible. So that was one of the highlights, being alongside you.
That's why I say put me at the other side of the desk. Like put me far. I feel bad for Ace.
Yeah, I get it now. Like it's unbelievable. And then I talked to Ace a bit because I remember him when he played here, and of course Wayne, who doesn't know Wayne. And yes, for me, I've covered many Cup finals, but as quote unquote a news reporter, I was at the Cup final when the Oilers were there the first time against Florida. But it's different when you are hosting the Cup final and millions of people are watching you, and everything is, I guess, dissected. You're just, a lot of people, they tune in and they tune out. But if you're an Oilers fan, you're a hockey fan, a Florida fan, you're watching that. And it was great. I had a wonderful time. I mean, it was, listen, I upfront and honest here, I grew up in Edmonton, and when I was 17 and they won their first Stanley Cup, back then it was Jasper Avenue, and there were no watch parties, and people would spill out of their homes, their basements, sometimes little halls, and they would just all gather and celebrate, high fives and congratulations. And here I was, 41 years later, now I'm hosting it. And I have to admit, I sort of envisioned that it would end with an interview with Connor and an interview with Leon and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And it turned out to be not them, but David Amber, my coworker at Sportsnet, said, when you get in those situations, there's such an excitement and there's such a respect for the team to do that, not once, but twice, that it'll be a breeze. And it really was. And, I don't, Seth Jones, who doesn't, feel good for Seth Jones, right? This guy's had a solid career, ups and downs, didn't go first overall. I mean, he's always treated me well. Why would I want something, bad to happen to him? Of course, I'm an Oilers fan, but when you're on TV, you're not a fan of anyone. You're a fan of the game.
Gene,
you can get away with it, Biz.
Yeah,
you can,
I don't know
you
how.
can do what you want. Yeah, you got some kind of clauses.
Let's get these two other knuckleheads going.
I was just going to say, like, when I think of you, I think of a guy that just loves the game, and you just said it, like being a fan of the players and the sport. But for you, it just seems like every day you're happy to be at the rink, you're happy to be doing interviews. Like you really, through the screen, you bring your enthusiasm and love for the game through that. Then I just wanted to know where that started. Obviously, growing up in Edmonton with winning teams is huge, but where did that all come from for you?
Yeah, I think it starts from that. In fact, I was thinking, when you're on a show like yours or a podcast, you're thinking, what can I say? And it reminded me of a story that involved Wayne. Back in the day at the old building, there was a hotel, restaurant, adult entertainment spot across the street. And I remember once back when I was 17, 18, there were no you didn't know who was starting in net. You didn't know what the lines were. You didn't know anything. You went to the game and, oh, okay. that's who's starting. And, so-and-so is out of the lineup or he's on the fourth line. I remember bumping into Wayne across the street once, and I was getting ready for my hockey draft, and they had acquired Mike Krushelnyski, if you remember him, from the Boston Bruins. And I said, hey, Wayne, what do you think where's he going to play? And he goes, he's going to be on my line. And I said, oh, okay. So I took him, I kind of snuck him into my hockey pool, and he ended up getting 88 points that year, and he won me the hockey draft. And that was my first ever meeting, with Wayne.
Insider trading.
Yeah. So you know what? I think, being able to see guys around town, back then, like Craig Simpson and I are 2 weeks apart. And so when I was going out, when I was, 20, 21, 22, 23, there were, the Oilers, they were out and about in a different way that I'm not sure they could do it like that nowadays, but they did back then. And that's just the growth of watching these unbelievable teams and once in a while bumping into them. I think that's one of the great parts of my job, Keith, is, you get to know Paul Coffey and you meet Glenn Anderson was kind of, they were all my favorites, but I always loved the way Glenn just attacked the net, would run into those posts and not worry about that they weren't supposed to move, but he would make them move. And so to be in my city and to cover, I guess, my team that I grew up with has given me, an unbelievable amount of enjoyment. People are, I'm 58, so I don't know how many more years I want to work. I don't know how many more years anybody wants me to work, but I would love to see a couple of cups come to this city as a real payoff to oil country and the support, that these people have given them throughout not just the years, but the decades.
Hey, did you tell your fantasy buddies that Wayne told you that?
I did, because they were like Krushelnyski back then had not a very good season in Boston, but a different team, Boston. And they're like, you're taking, and we used to just go up and down and write them down on a piece of paper. And I took Krushelnyski, I think 3rd or 4th round. And
that's high.
They're like, wow, why would you take Krushelnyski that high? He's not going to play with Wayne or Mark. And I'm thinking, I guess we'll see. And then they saw, coming. And back then the Oilers, I remember we used to do hockey pools every time they played. And the most popular score that we would pick would be 7-3 Oilers, because they just were always scoring a bunch of goals. So it's funny. I told Wayne that story once, and I think I'm not sure he remembered, but I think he remembers the fact that people around town would treat him and everyone else like royalty. But anyone who knows Wayne knows that he treats you right back the same way.
Whit, they had to do pen and paper for keeping track of fantasy back then too. So that was a grind.
Somebody had the job of writing it all down. They checked the Sunday paper. It was nuts.
That's right. Once a week, you'd get the stats. Sometimes we would check on a nightly basis. You'd open up the paper the next day, and then at the end of the week, the once a week stats would come out, and then we would make sure that the stats were correct. It seems like 100 years ago.
So then Gene made buddies with the guy at the newspaper. Hey, misprinting his guy's stats. You could get around that in Edmonton.
No problem in Edmonton. You could do anything like that back then.
Marius Tchaikovsky had 19 goals last week. What a pick in the 7th round, Gene.
Oh, gosh. Marius
Why are you taking him first overall, Gene? Where did you get your quirky personality? Like Jan's kind of touched on it, how you show it on screen, and sometimes you got the costumes on. Is anybody helping you with these ideas, or was this just you from an early childhood where you were just always the silly guy who wasn't afraid to be in front of the camera?
I think a combination like I would say all of the above. I think when you start in your career, whatever career it is, that you're trying to find your way and figure out what's the best you to do whatever it is that you're doing. And I think, I didn't do that when I started, but it was in fact after the 2006 Cup run to Game 7, and then I'll never forget reading a story the next day that Chris Pronger wanted out. And I'm like, how's that? I never heard a word. Never. And then by the end of the week, he was virtually gone or on his way to Anaheim. Next season started, and it was a rough go. I mean, the team was in tough shape. And I just said, the one thing that people turn to at the end of their day, good, bad, somewhere in the middle, is their sports teams. And when you turn on the TV, and I'm the guy that tries to make a good first impression, I want to be able to do that. And when you're in, whether it's a football market, a baseball market, a hockey market, people know the power play, the penalty kill, save percentages, how many wins, how many losses in a row. So I was like, well, let's find some things that are positive and then try and add to them. And so the adding became the puns and the props. And I still remember my first pun. I was talking about Gary Bettman and Chris Chelios. If you guys remember during
Oh yeah.
Chelios,
that got heated.
Yeah, that got heated. And I remember we were discussing it with one of the analysts, and Chris, he's Greek, and so I said apparently Chris is fed up with the commissioner, and and that was the beginning of it all. Very, very subtle, soft start, like a soft opening for a restaurant, and here we are, virtually maybe not getting close to 20 years later, and still doing the same thing. But I got to credit my family for sort of being a test audience. The crews that I work with are fantastic. And at the end of the day, Sportsnet, because they've allowed me and others to be creative and to try and do something that people will hopefully like. The world has changed. So some things that you could have done a certain amount of years ago, you won't be doing now, or you would only do it once. So, which is okay. So now there's a couple of layers. I go to our producer, we discuss it. And if we're not sure, if we got to go to our executive producer, then we know, okay, let's not bother, because if we don't know whether we should do it, going to him, let's just leave it at no, and we'll save it for another time.
When I was there, you dressed up like a hot dog.
Yes.
It was right around, it wasn't Halloween. He's like, I feel like a wiener for dressing up too early. And then he's interviewing Kelly Buckberger after. He's like, this is the first time a hot dog's interviewed a burger. Like this guy's like, you wore the hot dog costume the whole game that day.
The whole game. I remember. Crazy. Yeah, I remember. And I remember Fernando Pisani, Fernando had been out for about a dozen games because of a back problem. And they said, come on over here. You're, doing an interview with Gene. And he comes around kind of a barrier and he goes, oh my God. He's like, are you kidding me? Like a hot dog? I can barely catch my breath. I'm not feeling great. And now this hot dog has to interview me. And so I remember that we were in Boston, in fact, and it was fabulous. Like I just love doing that kind of stuff. And I know not everybody does. And but I just think it adds something now that we have, 150 channels and countless podcasts, some better than others, of course, that there's so much out there. When I was growing up, there were a couple of channels. You were lucky to have cable. And in our area, Edmonton, we would get Spokane. That was where we would get our cable from, the ABC, CBS, NBC affiliates. And that was it, right? But now, there's nothing but channels out there and opportunities. So thanks, Whit, for bringing that up. I remember that vividly. And Fernando lives in the area, and we'll go for a coffee once in a while. And we always have a chuckle about it. So that's why even the Oilers have been fantastic supporters too. They might have went, you know what, we're an NHL team, and we're not. Maybe that's not the way we want to start our broadcast, but they've been fantastic and really supportive over the decades with it.
I feel like the players love it because it almost takes a little pressure off them as well. And I was fortunate when we played in Arizona, we had Todd Walsh.
Yeah.
And he would always bring he's incredible. And especially with the way he spoke on the team's last game here, live. And he didn't even know that he was going to get sent that. Just an incredible human being. But I think the players love it. So, but the question I had was, what did you ever do that warranted you getting called in where they were maybe upset? Like
Great question.
What did you do that was offside that you could have gotten in trouble for?
Yeah. It was a Matt Duchene offside. Yeah. The one that sticks out. So I've had a few where they're kind of like, hey, tone it down a little bit. And, but the one that sticks out was, you remember Drake Caggiula. And he was with the Oilers. The Oilers played on I think it was a Saturday afternoon in Dallas. And Drake had a couple of goals, and he got moved to the first line, right? So, and I had been thinking, boy, it'd be great to do something on Drake, right? Drake. And so that next game versus St. Louis, I did something on Drake. And I kind of dressed up as Drake. No blackface or anything like that. I want to make that clear. It was just a look. Clothes and stuff like that to look like what Drake might look like. And so I did something like on the first line, bling, the coach used to call me on the cell phone, and so that's kind of how I did it. And it seemed okay. Like everyone kind of left. But what happened was again, when I first started in TV, you did something and it was done. The next day, someone might talk about it at the water cooler, as they, would say, and that's it. But that night, in our overnight run, we ran it over and over again. So in the morning, we have a morning loop. So every half hour is the same show. So twice an hour, hour after hour after hour, it got seen. And I think some people, I think they just got tired of it. And so that one got me in a little bit of hot water. And I think it was okay. At the time I was, and for any of you guys that know me, and all three of you do, I'm a like make friends kind of guy. I don't want anyone leaving a room thinking anything bad about me. And I felt really bad that anyone would have thought that I was making any kind of racial gestures or anything. It was just.
What kind of bars did you write? You got a couple for us? Can you spell us a few lines?
I think it was, you used to call me on my cell phone. You need my goals. And then something about the first line bling. And I did it. It was funny because Drake thought it was great, right? And I think that, kind of circling back to players liking it. I mean, I think it's kind of neat for a player when someone specifically picks them out and tries to entertain through their name, through their success, through both, through their play. But that was, and I remember then we went on to Buffalo, and for a couple of days I was kind of quiet. I felt really uncomfortable about it, and it just wasn't what I wanted to come out to people. If there were those that thought
you're a sensitive guy, right? And then it almost takes a little wind out of your sails for like being creative for the next probably like month or 6 weeks. You go into a bit of a shell, but
why do I need to do that?
I think that's why everyone loves you, is because you take those swings and you put yourself out there, and that's why you become somebody everyone loves. So don't feel bad about that one. I would just say maybe work on your bars a little bit. That's what I would do. And at least you didn't show up like Rafi Torres, I guess. It's just mad because I said that. He's mad. I'm the one who put the picture out.
I don't want the wrath of Rafi.
Oh my
gosh.
I don't want
any Rafi.
Oh yeah, you know Raph.
How's that?
I thought maybe with Drake Kajula you would have thought of something like Dracula, because it kind of sounds like, if you say it quick, I thought maybe.
Yeah, Drake Kajula.
Why'd you pop up there, Whit?
I think you're trying to tell Wayne Gretzky how to pass the puck.
Yeah, that's true.
No. I thought when he started telling the story, that's the way it was
going.
With it.
Okay,
like he was going to dress up as Dracula, like Drake Kajula.
Yeah, right. That would have been.
I was waiting for another hot dog outfit.
TNT just fired Biz.
No, we just added another seat to the panel. Any other ones where maybe that you got in trouble for, where you're like, I'm not taking the L on this. You need to lighten up.
Yeah, you know what? For the most part, it was very minor wrist slaps. Like that was the only one that kind of got elevated. I wouldn't say to the top, but pretty close. And
if you did the Trump mask now, we'd have a different story.
Well, bingo, right? And so that right.
You did it back in the day,
buddy. Yeah, mask on.
You were ahead of your time.
Well, you know what? My son had dressed up as him for Halloween. And the inauguration would have been, I think, around November 17th or somewhere around there. And that would have been 2017?
No, it was like January 2017,
okay.
Like when he was coming in.
Okay, so January 2017, you're right, Whit. And I put it on, and I put a red tie, and what does he wear? Kind of a blue suit blazer?
Orange makeup.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of natural for me. And I just did an opening, and I remember saying, like, Talbot, has been like a wall. Oilers trying to trump the Wild. And like the only thing I saw was a little article in the New York Post. Someone actually sent it to me. So that's a perfect example. That's 8 years ago, but that feels like 28 or 38 years ago. And just so everyone who's going to watch this, right? I would never do that now. I wouldn't even think of it. But back then, it just kind of happened, and like I don't know. I don't even know when I think of it now. It just seems just bonkers. But at the time, it seemed, I wouldn't say natural, but at least okay.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, your barometer was pretty solid there.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's funny.
I wouldn't run it back next season though. They might move the team. McDavid will leave for sure if you do that.
Well, and remember where Connor dressed up as Trump for Halloween. Whit, I don't know what was that. That would have been around the same time.
That was like probably a year before that.
Yeah, it was right around it was 2016, 2017, maybe along the campaign trail. And I remember him getting just not a grief is probably overstating it, but just getting a few comments, Yeah. But now certainly he wouldn't, I wouldn't, none of us would do anything anywhere near like that.
Yeah. I'm wondering, like, when did you kind of know you wanted to do this, right? Like, and what was your start? Because for people that are doing what you do, a lot of times, I mean, you're starting at the bottom, right? You're at maybe a small network, or I don't know how it all began for you and how you even thought, like, this is what I want to do with my life.
Yep. Well, it's a great question because so many people see you sort of at the end of your career and think, oh, you know what? Wow, look at him. He's on Sportsnet or whatever network. They've got this podcast. I was a soccer player as a kid, and I tried out for the provincial under-16 team, and I got cut. And I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to make it as a pro soccer player. So I always wanted to be a pro athlete. So I thought it'd be kind of neat to cover pro athletes. And I'm not sure why, but when I was a kid growing up, and Howard Cosell, Don Crickey, Dick Enberg, Al Michaels, so many of the announcers, I found myself enjoying the call of the game almost as much as the game. And so I thought that, I'm 15 years old. Okay, let's try this. Got through high school, went to a local college. And then honestly, it's like being a ball player. It's like rookie ball, single A, double A, triple A, and then you hope to make it to the majors. And that's what happened with me. I worked in towns of 25,000, 50,000. And, my big break came, I guess, personally and professionally when I went to Winnipeg. That's where I met my future wife. And that's where I got to first cover the NHL before it left the first time, or left initially. And then I went to Toronto, and then I moved back to Edmonton in 1998. And since then, I've been hosting the Oilers. I was telling my wife the other day, I said, I'm now the guy that I used to hate. Oh my God, he's still there? Like, when is this guy, when is someone going to get rid of him? Yeah, like, and I'm a big believer in that. Like, I'm a fan of letting young people, whether it's in sports, in broadcast, in business, to have an opportunity. I'm not quite there yet, but I am not going to be the guy at, 71 or 73 or maybe even 68 or 67. I really feel like once I've had a good run, I'll be so happy with what I've done and not worry about what I am no longer doing, and giving some young kid, male, female, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe, a chance to do something that they dreamed about and that I had a chance to do for a long time.
So you're telling us right now, if in 5 years they win the Stanley Cup, you're pulling a Ray Bourque, you're done.
You know what, Keith? I got to tell you, I'm, as mentioned, 58. If I was like 63 or 64, I'm not kidding you, that it would have really crossed my mind, because I would have been, how does it get better than this? I'm at the, I started when I was 20. So let's say I'm 63 and I'm 43 years into the business. I'm covering the team I grew up watching. I'm interviewing a generational talent who's going to be, knock on wood, in the Hockey Hall of Fame and one of the best top 3, top 5 players ever all time. His sidekick is not too far off. I mean, where do I go from here? What's next? I might have done the mic drop. I've always kind of said that I would like to cover Connor from start to finish. I was there in 2015 when he was drafted, but I'm pretty sure he's going to outlast me. But you're bang on, Keith, that if I was a little bit older and if they had won, I might have been thinking that all day. What am I doing tonight? Like, if they win this, am I calling it quits tonight? Or maybe I'm going to take the evening or a week to think about it, but that might be it. I might be done.
So you're saying that covering the team now with Connor and Leon is better than when Whit was there during the dog days?
Hey, you went through a lot trying to get some good storylines with those teams. Holy
shooting Roman candles out of his ass pregame to get people to watch.
Well, it was, the one thing I would say. That's the thing, it was kind of funny because you're right, Keith. It was a challenging time. But what I would say about Whit, And all those players through all those years of dejection and disappointment, the players always treated me well and were fantastic at still telling. Well, thank you for saying that. I mean, that does make me feel good because Biz, you were bang on when that incident happened. I just kind of felt like, do I even want to be like that anymore? I can just say, hey, the Oilers are 3-1-1 in their last 5. The penalty kills at 89% over that stretch. I don't need any trouble, but I want to try and entertain. So after a while, you kind of step back and then you step forward again and you go back to, kind of who you are. But it was a difficult time. I have to tell you, when I see teams like Chicago and San Jose and some of these clubs now that are struggling and getting those high picks and trying to turn that into success, I have to shake my head and say, I remember when that was the Oilers and that was me covering a team like that. But the players, through the many coaches and general managers, honestly, they've been fantastic. I can't say enough great things about the organization, and even through the changes and sometimes many changes because of the lack of success, I always got treated well, and I always felt like when someone comes to talk to me, I hope that they leave and say, yeah, I'll go back and talk to that guy again. And one of the neat things from the playoffs of all things was in the conference final, we do these walk-up interviews, and so they don't wait for the person to arrive. As they're kind of in eyesight or the camera can see them, you kind of start introing so that they come up. And I was about to interview Mikko Rantanen, and I've covered him, and he goes, "Hey, Gene, how you doing?" And I can't tell you how much street cred that gave me because he wasn't an Oiler, and he wasn't, quote unquote, a Canadian kid who grew up watching me. But here he was, giving me this really nice welcome and hello. And so it was really nice. And one of the small things, it's a big thing for me, is when at the end of an interview, someone says, "Thanks, Gene," or, "Thanks, Biz, thanks, Jens, thanks, Whit," whoever it is. It's just that little extra that makes you feel like, hey, you know what? Yeah. They enjoyed the moment. They enjoyed the time, and that I hope they'll be back again.
So, I met you in 2010.
Yeah.
And then, you've been doing it before I met you. You continue to do it. And tell me if you disagree. I feel like in the last 3 years, and maybe it has something to do with how good the Oilers have become, you've kind of reached a different level. Like, do you notice that? Like, where Twitter, a lot of your things are going viral. Like,
talking
I don't
about
know
his hair.
Like, you had the long hair.
The baby oil on the beach in Florida.
But do you notice what I'm saying? Where it's like, wow, you've like reached the top of your game. You're 58. Like, I don't know what happened, because you've been the same guy the whole time.
Yeah, you are bang on, and I credit the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. And I couldn't agree more. When I cut my hair earlier than the playoffs against Vegas, it was like I
was mad at you. I was like, what's he doing?
I know. It was a subtle. So the Oilers in the first round, we weren't sure if they were going to make it through. They were trailing. I think it was 2-1 at that time, and I had to do this event, which I just cleared with Sportsnet, and my boss, who's a great guy, says, "Yeah, for sure." He goes, "Maybe they'll make you cut your hair for it." So I was like, "Okay." Hint dropped. Okay, and received. So then the Oilers get into the second round, and actually my son was graduating from university with his second degree, and so I was busy that weekend. I got to Vegas, and I said to my boss, "Hey, this was going on," and I said, "But I'll cut my hair here," and it was kind of a line like, maybe he's going to go, "Don't worry about it." He's like, "Good luck. I hope it turns out great." So I said, "Okay." And that morning, I've never had so much haircut stress in my life, because I had to find someone to cut it. And then I had to Uber over, then catch an Uber back with a suit on. And even the lady was like, "I don't have anybody come in with a suit to cut their hair." Like, she's going, "I don't know who this guy is, but he seems like he's important to some extent." And I went to the rink, and it was like, everybody was just like, even the players and even Chris Knoblauch goes, "I didn't even know who you were." And he's like, "I wasn't sure." And then someone said, "That's Gene." He goes, "That can't be Gene." And so it was, it was so kind. Even Connor, the day after, so I cut it game day. The next day, just in Connor, like, it was so Connor-like. He's about to do an interview. He looks and goes, "Cut your hair, huh?" Okay. And that was it. And then it was time for questions, So, but that acknowledgement, listen, deep down, to have people like that, whether they're former Oilers of greatness or current Oilers from greatness, I feel like I'm 10 years old. And that I think that is circling back, Jens, to your question about what kind of keeps you going and enthused. It's things like that make me feel young. And the other thing is you're around young people all the time, right? There's a new 18-year-old first overall pick or first round pick. There's a new kid that was signed from Europe. He's 21. And so you keep hanging around young people, and it just, I think it helps keep you young and enthused and energized for what you do.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's just something that's like amazing to be a part of, right? Like you're kind of a part of the team with the fan base.
Yeah.
Like right before puck drop, we get to see Gene. We know he's dropping a pun, and that's what's cool. But yeah, I didn't know when you decided to. It's funny you brought up the hair. I couldn't believe it. I flipped it on. I'm like, what the hell's he doing?
I know.
That was greasy
way.
though. That was getting greasy.
Yeah, it was.
Looked like Easy E.
It really was. I went 19 months without cutting my hair. And, some people, it just sort of grows like, so mine grows this way and this way and this way. Like it grows
The Jerry
everywhere,
curl.
right?
Yeah.
Totally. I mean,
Did you say Easy E yet?
Yeah, with the Jerry curl. That's what it looked like.
It was out of control.
Don't get him in trouble. We already went down the rapper route. Who would you say were your biggest like inspirations growing up? Like any other like people in entertainment who you like idolize, where you were like, oh, I kind of want to be like them. Like what really sparked it?
Well, I mentioned earlier Howard Cosell, and when I was a kid, we'd get Monday Night Football, like we still do. But I mean, Monday Night Football was so special. And on Sundays, we didn't, we would get kind of like the kickoff at 11 and then a 2:00 game, and that would be it. And we didn't have all these different channels to watch all the different games. So Monday night was all about football. And I remember my parents would let me stay up till halftime, and then Howard would do a kind of a wrap of the weekend action. And I grew up a Minnesota Vikings fan with Fran Tarkenton and Chuck Foreman. Those were sort of my guys, Ahmad Rashad, Sammy White. And so I would always want to see the highlights. And I know this may sound strange. I may not have even known, if we didn't have the paper that day, if Minnesota had won the day before. I know that sounds weird, but I would watch those highlights. And by the time halftime was over, I would know every result, including if Minnesota had played on Sunday, if they had won. So Howard Cosell, I was really into, American announcers. In Canada, I was a big fan of Don Whitman. Even a guy I had just worked with, Chris Cuthbert. Chris isn't a whole lot older than me, but I remember watching him do the Olympics. And then I've had a chance to work with some, Ray Ferraro is a great analyst and a wonderful guy. Jack Michaels, who you guys know. I mean, Jack's like a wrestling announcer doing hockey. I mean, he is, people absolutely, Whit, you had asked about the last 2 or 3 years. I think Jack's answer about our brand, for lack of a better term, would be the same. His has grown exponentially because of what he does, how he does it, and the team that he covers. And of course, I feel very safe anywhere with Louis DeBrusque.
Oh yeah, what a weapon!
Oh my gosh, Louis! He's
a handsome bastard too. We talked about Lundqvist, but holy,
yeah. Oh, Louis is a good-looking dude too.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. So lots of people along the way, but I would say my parents. I mean, they unfortunately both have now passed. But I remember, my dad would always say we came on a boat July 19, 1959. And the people back home would write letters saying that the streets of, in this case, Edmonton, were paved with gold. And he got here and he goes, I don't see any gold on the streets, but hopefully for you kids, you and your sister, that there will be some gold in your future. And, they love the Oilers. They wouldn't have known a puck if it hit them in the face when they came over. But the people fall in love with the sport that they know nothing about. And I remember once having a 20-minute phone conversation with my mom, and for 5 minutes, we talked about my 3 kids and the weather. And then 15 minutes was like, what's wrong with the Oilers? And I'm like, oh my God, like this is a 70-year-old Italian immigrant woman who made seamstress, who made drapes for a living, that all she wants to talk about is the Oilers. So it is an example of what it's like. And I'm specifically talking about oil country and the Oilers, but any major fan base that just has that kind of support. And just to kind of wrap up this thought, there's a lot of great times that come with the playoffs, but sports helps a lot of people through difficult times. And just one story that through Instagram, I get so many notes from people and messages about all these great things that are happening in their lives thanks to the Oilers. But this is a note I, in fact, sent to Kelly McDavid, Connor's mom. And I said, I got this note from this gentleman whose father was, he was dying. And there was no other way for him to put it. He said, but when we moved him into a hospice, he said the two things he wanted, I even think about it. That's how much these guys mean to people. He wanted a photo with his late wife, and he wanted his Connor McDavid jersey. Those are the two things that he wanted to bring with him. And I just think sometimes, I know it was disappointing loss, but you can't even, I think, register or calculate how much Connor, the Oilers mean to oil country, and take a certain player in their team and to their area. Like sports is wonderful. I just think it does separate people because you have your favorite teams, but it just brings them together, and it's the most beautiful thing. And I couldn't ask for a better way, to have a career in doing this. What kind of career? My friends joke, when are you going to retire? Like, wait a minute, you're already retired, so there is a little bit of work that goes into it, but for sure, I love it.
So did you ever have an instance with a player that they kind of were like rattled with you a little bit? Like, because you're making jokes and maybe they're in a bad mood.
Knows that he's got the story teed
I don't
up.
know if you have one you could share.
Yeah, one in particular. I've had a couple, I wouldn't say problems, but you kind of heard, two that stick out. And one was diffused quite quickly. I remember with Kevin Lowe. Do you remember Alexander Selivanov?
Yeah.
He scored Phil Esposito's son-in-law, in fact. And Alex had been with the Oilers, if I remember correctly, scored 29 goals one year. And then the Oilers didn't sign him, which was, no big deal. And I interviewed him. He went to Columbus, and I interviewed him after a period. And I said, were you surprised that, I'm paraphrasing, but that you had to wait for a job kind of thing, that kind of instance or that kind of example. And then later on, I saw Kevin Lowe, and he goes, I'm not happy with you. And I'm like, geez, Kevin Lowe's not happy with me. Now I'm not happy. Why? And he goes, well, what you asked Alex Selivanov, and he recited the question. I go, yeah, I didn't say the Oilers didn't sign you. He goes, but when you say what you said, you're lumping us in with the entire group. And I went, you know what? It's true, because I'm broadcasting back to Oilers fans. So by not saying it, I'm still kind of saying it. And it was just a little subtle reminder, right? And I thought, he's kind of right on that. And it wasn't meant to be a shot at the Oilers, but if you're reading between the lines, that's kind of what you would hear is, hey, are you surprised that the Oilers and the rest of the NHL didn't sign you? So I totally got that. The other one was Larry Murphy. Remember Larry Murphy, who put up a lot of points? I interviewed him once in Toronto, and I was doing a feature on him, and I don't know why I suddenly thought I was like Mike Wallace, but I was asking him all these freaking hard questions, which I thought they wanted. At that time, Larry was making, I think, $3.5 million, and we're talking 35 years ago, about 30. It was like 30 years ago.
He was the whipping boy too, right?
And that's the point. He was getting booed a lot.
Another legend, Toronto booed out of the lead.
Yeah, Leafs fans, stay hot.
Yeah.
Shut up.
And that's exactly the setup. He was making a lot of money, and he was getting booed. And so I remember asking him, and honestly, I would have wanted to punch myself in the face too for this. I said, do you think they're booing you because of your pay or because of your play? It's like,
oh man, that hurts.
I know. Who am I? Like,
oh, that's like, Gene, you're supposed to be talking about like hot dogs or something.
I know. And when they said do a feature on him, that was kind of what was happening at that time. So I thought, oh, geez, I guess that's what they want. So Larry was really good, actually. Larry was fantastic. He answered the questions. We got out of there. The next game, Cliff Fletcher came at me red like your shirt, Whit, and he was upset. And I was like, whoa, okay. And again, you kind of go back and you think about it. And I didn't speak to Cliff that night because there was no point. But I saw him the next game. I said, Cliff, you know what? I actually watched the feature back. And I said, you're 100% right. I was totally out of line. And he was so good about it. He goes, like we got a lot of pressure going on and you're the host broadcaster. And we weren't expecting that from you. We understand if he's standing in front of a bunch of journalists that people might ask him that, but we didn't think it would come from you or from your network. And I said, you're bang on. And I said, the next guy I got to talk to is Larry Murphy. And I went to see Larry, and he was fantastic. I continued to cover him in his career, and then I would see him in Detroit a lot when he was doing the games. He was great. He goes, no problem. He goes, I just was kind of surprised. I didn't expect that. And I'm like, you know what? In some ways, I didn't expect that either. It was new to the Toronto market, and I think I felt like I had to do something, and that's what I did, and it was the wrong thing. So Larry certainly sticks out as that would be at the top. And then there were some other ones like Kevin's that gave me some perspective on when you're asking people questions, sometimes it's not just what you say, it's the underlying meaning of the question.
Well, how long you been in the league? If those are your only two mishaps, you're doing the right thing.
Biz has been on TNT for 3 years, and he's almost gone to jail, basically.
Like 7 guys have restraining orders on Biz in the league, and then you just asked Larry Murphy if it's the pay or the play.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing that the guys do on TNT is and the podcasts have really opened things up. Again, when I was starting out, there's sort of 3 avenues. You either worked on radio, TV, or you were a writer. I mean, that was it. You had 3 options. There was nothing else. And nowadays, there's so many options for kids, and a lot of times people will look
OnlyFans, everything.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's like one of the outlets.
I'm not familiar with that. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
Instagram,
TikTok,
sports.
Plenty of people on OnlyFans not.
All right, well, Gene, these guys are torturing me. These guys are torturing me. McDavid's gonna leave.
Nah.
Come on. Tell me why. I mean, tell me how confident you feel that he will stay as an Oiler.
I'm really confident. I think that back-to-back losses in the Cup final, one almost epic. Only the second time ever a team would have come back from a 3-0 deficit and to lose by a goal. Then another one where you're down to a best of 3 and you lose in game 6. I think Connor is, in soccer, we would use the term gutted. And I just think at the end of the season, Connor was, in hindsight, it would have been nice not to have him talk, but that would have been worse because people would have been making up their own words and their own sentences.
Yeah, we would have been doing plenty of that.
Right, of course, right. So he has to talk, but then people don't see this big smiley, lovey-dovey words of "I'm staying forever," and I never took any of it. Like when I say personally, I mean as a city, I never took that as anything bad at all. I just took a guy who's spent. He's given everything, and then some, and has. I'm not going to say nothing to show for it, but not what he wants to show for it. So I'm cool with him, taking off, go spend some time at the cottage. I've heard he's already working out and, just go relax and let's make this a negotiation. One of the great questions that he answered was a message to the fans. And he spoke of how difficult it's been, but how enjoyable it's been. And he said, stick with us because for all of us, it's going to pay off. And to me, that was kind of better than, I love you. To me, that was, I'm saying to you and to everybody, stick with it. We got this. We're going to get this. Continue to be patient and continue to love us. And I promise you, we'll give you the love that you want with the Stanley Cup. So I'm not saying he's signing an 8-year deal, but I'm not concerned at all that Connor wouldn't come here. I mean, everything I've seen and heard, I've never heard an inkling that he dislikes anything,
Whit just came in his jeans.
Yeah. No, that happens all the time, though. A soft wind can make that happen, Biz. But, Gene, a lot of people, I have some buddies at home that are like, why does he seem so miserable? And, I've kind of said, I think he's just, he's maybe wound a little tight, but he's obsessive about, his craft and the game, and he's a pro. But around the room, he is different. At least I've been told. It's just more how he comes off in the media, correct? Yeah.
And you know what? He's been so great with the media. I mean,
See, that's where people will say, no, he hasn't.
Well, I think that, and what I was going to add was that when the camera stopped rolling, there was a time you think Connor was fast on the ice. The cameras would stop rolling and he was done. And so now the camera stopped rolling and he chats with you. I mean, he arrives at 18 with this generational talent tag with an organization that Whit, you played here. I mean, is trying to find just a sample of those glory days, and it all lands on his lap. Despite everybody that he has, it lands on him. And I think over certainly the last decade, Leon has taken some of that, maybe even more than we expected, considering that, in the beginning, we weren't quite sure what Leon was going to be, but he's an all-star. I mean, he's going to be a Hockey Hall of Fame player. But I just think that he's really started to become more comfortable with who he is. And that's tough to ask an 18-year-old. And where I see it the most is with kids. I think that Connor now knows and has for the last, certainly once we got through COVID and then there was, more interaction with people face to face, that 10 seconds, that photo, that signature, that handshake, that fist pump, that smile, that pat on the back, whatever it is. I mean, that kid is remembering that for another 50, 60, 70 years.
Oh, life-changing for some kids.
Unbelievable. And it really is. And I think that Connor understands that, where before, you get a 13-year-old kid and you're 18, and it's tough. Like
it feels probably a little weird in some cases too, right?
It's like
he just wants to be alone and privacy, and it's a lot. I couldn't imagine handling that at that age.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that over the course of the last decade, he's now married, and he said himself one day, he's going to be a dad. And I mean, it's the evolution of a human being who, in this case, is a guy that people are comparing with Wayne Gretzky. I mean, talk about a lot of pressure and trying to fulfill that pressure and the expectancy to win a Stanley Cup. Paul Coffey told a great story after the Oilers lost the first Stanley Cup to the Islanders. And that's why, I mean, I think we just had this like dream sequence that the Oilers were going to win, and it was going to be like 84, 85. They lost in 83. They came back to win in 84 against the same team, just like the Oilers back then. We had it all written out, and then Florida decided that they had a different script to finish this season off with. But Paul told a story how Wayne said, I got to win a cup. They're never going to compare me, or I'm never going to have the same legacy as a Guy Lafleur after they had won their cups in a row, or Braun Trottier and Mike Bossy. And I firmly believe that's Connor. And I firmly believe, like Wayne, he's going to win Stanley Cups as well. But I think sometimes people just forget the pressure. Just waking up and you're Connor McDavid and people expect you to be a superstar every game, and they expect you to win scoring titles and score goals and be Mr. Community and be the husband of the year and win a Stanley Cup and. I mean, he is a human, and I've seen him, though, really kind of get more comfortable with who he is. Whit, I'm not sure he's ever going to be all jokey and funny in front of the cameras. I do see that more than I used to, but I just feel like even if it doesn't look like he's different, I think he feels different about his comfort level when he's talking to a row of cameras and microphones.
I was going to ask the same thing about Leon. Like, he seems like he's a pretty funny guy, very sarcastic, right?
Oh, I love it. That's the thing about Leon. He kind of puts you on edge a little bit. Like, he reminds me a little bit, and you guys know him and played with him, Dustin Penner. I remember Dustin was one of those guys, like, you better make sure your question, first of all, was a question, not a statement, and that the question, I guess, had some merit. Like, Leon's not afraid to kind of give you, I wouldn't say a jab, but make it clear that maybe the question wasn't a great one. He doesn't, I don't think he does it rudely, but I think he makes his point, and he's more open and I think honest and forward with his feelings. Like, if he doesn't like something, if he doesn't like some questions, he'll tell you, whether he actually verbally tells you or he'll tell you in his answer. Where Connor, I would say, that doesn't really do that. But I've enjoyed being around Leon. I got to tell you, I didn't know what kind of player he was going to be. I mean, MacT sent him back to junior with Kelowna. They made it to the Memorial Cup, and everyone's going, what is this kid? Who's he going to be? I mean, he's turned into an incredible, he plays with Connor, and of course, people have always 97 sort of first in their mind and then 29. But Connor said it himself. I mean, I'm not the best player on the ice all the time. And a lot of times it's number 29. And so it's such a wonderful time to be that people say, how's your job? How's your work? How's your career? I get to watch those guys and the rest of the guys around them. So it never feels like work. And Leon, one of the neat things is getting to know guys from being teenagers into young men, and you just sort of see their evolution. And I love Leon. I think he's fantastic. And I think sometimes, long answer, I think he sometimes speaks for Connor. I think sometimes things are going on and it isn't maybe right or proper for Connor to answer a question, whether it be about him or the team. Leon will step forward and kind of answer it for Connor, and Leon's and the rest of the team kind of going, okay, enough. Here's the answer. Let's move on.
What's it like being on the road with Bob Stauffer?
Well, listen, I haven't been the same since he said he would block shots in the nude. I've not seen Bob in the nude, but seeing him a lot, I could kind of imagine. Bob's unbelievable. Like, Bob and I once got into a little bit of a disagreement. I think it was after the 06 Cup run. In fact, I was walking to the rink in Vancouver. Bob had a show on a different radio station, and he was kind of questioning Craig McTavish, who was coach back then. And I can't remember exactly how I said, but I was kind of like, I get if you are, I don't know. I'm going to say Mike Babcock, maybe not the best example, but a former coach or a coach, and they say, hey, I didn't like the way he handled his power play. But I was like, Bob, who are you to question Craig McTavish? And, Bob didn't like that, which I don't blame him. He's got you on his show. He's not expecting you to kind of call him out on it. But I've always been a big fan of MacTeen. He works with Sportsnet. He's on the panel with us recently. So after that, we had a little bit of friction, but we got it settled. And Bob's work ethic and his love for the team in the city is pretty hard to match. I mean, he wears results quite clearly. A lot of times you don't have to hear Bob say a word, and you know exactly what the Oilers have done. He is somebody, him and I are just like a year apart. We're both Edmontonians. I grew up on the opposite side of the city, so we sort of have the same background, and so it's kind of neat to work with him. And he knows a lot, and he knows a lot of people. And for anyone who ever questions Bob's, I guess Rolodex is what we would say, don't question it. He's got a lot of people texting, calling, and back and forth between different executives and different people in the NHL, including players. So he's very well connected in the hockey world, and certainly in Edmonton.
Well, I don't know. You got anything else for this guy, boys?
I just had one. Everyone's talking about Florida, three-peat and going back. Do you see Edmonton in the same position? They didn't do a ton on free agency, but do you see them getting back to the finals and trying to get their crack at the Panthers, if that's who they're playing?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think, it's been interesting with all the post-celebration or I guess post-cup dramatics, theatrics, calling out. I mean, I don't remember, and this is an observation. It's not a criticism. I don't remember. I think people before that, right after Florida won the Cup, I think many Oiler fans would have said, let's see somebody else. But then the playing of the
Oilers, it was crazy.
song.
They were going at him for a week straight.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand it, but that's who they are, right? They're kind of like the Oakland Raiders back in the in the 70s or whatever you want to call it. Though. Yeah, I mean it was great. So I think now people want them, to play Florida because of the two losses in the Cup final, but also what happened afterwards. I'm never betting against Connor and Leon. I really think, I know, getting to 3 in a row is tough. Just ask Florida, but it's doable. The Oilers are, as good a team as anyone except for one. So I don't see there being any reason that they can't make it. And if they were driven to make a second straight Stanley Cup final, I can't imagine how driven they are to make a third. And that's the one thing I underestimated. Media day before the Cup final, I think being around Edmonton and knowing that they lost to Florida, there's just an inherent feeling like these guys are hungry. They're hungry. Yes. But when I listened to the Panthers going into the Cup final, I'm like, let's not underestimate how hungry these guys are to build a dynasty, to get to 2. You can't get to 3 without 2. And the idea of building something that could go down in history, especially the way the world is and the way the salary cap is now, the hockey world. It's different than when you just would roll team after another, and they would win 4 or 5 in a row or 5 and 7 like the Oilers. It's very difficult to do. So they were a lot hungrier than I expected. But Jens, I would like nothing better than to see another Florida Edmonton final. I mean, I think it would be awesome. It would be awesome, I guess, if other teams are in it too. But certainly from Edmonton's standpoint, they want another crack at it. Leon will be 30 in October. Connor will turn 29 next January 13th, to be exact.
They grow up so fast, don't they?
They do, Biz.
Crazy.
I mean, I remember Connor at the draft. He was wearing like a cutoff shirt and a hat on backwards. And, you look at him and go, that's the guy. That's the guy that is going to lead Edmonton somewhere. We wait to see where that is. And now we've seen where that is. So, they're still in that window, of course, but you start flipping the calendar into the threes and it's not like you're 24 anymore. I think these guys have many more great years, but to have a great team year after year after year, that's a little more challenging.
Yeah, I think this stuff with the during the parade and all that stuff, from everything we've heard, that the trash talking during that series was crazy. So I think that kind of maybe had something to do with it, but you would obviously know more than us.
No, and I'd heard that as well, that there was a lot of that going on.
Did you hear what was said?
No, I never did hear what was said.
He's not a snitch, dude.
Bullshit.
What do they say?
Get in the weeds here.
Snitches
Come
get
on.
stitches.
Yeah. Let's get called into the office again at Sportsnet. Come on.
No, not again. I don't want to go back to the principal's office again. But I did hear a lot about that. I just have never heard that after. Like it's one of the unbelievable things in sports, right? Where after this hard-fought series, they shake hands and they seemingly wish each other, congratulations or what a series. And then, I mean, listen, a lot of that was liquid courage. I'm not sure that if they hadn't had who knows how many beers, it would have all come out. The other thing, too, is you guys know, listen, the Oilers were well known at forgetting the Stanley Cup at a strip bar and putting dents in it, just like the Panthers. There was no video back then. Who knows what Mark Messier might have said, or Paul Coffey or Grant Fuhrer, name any one of them, right? But there was nothing to be recorded back then. There was nothing to record.
Oh, yeah, like you don't know those stories either. Give me a break.
Paul's a pretty good storyteller. And as you know, Wayne's a wonderful storyteller as well. So it would be great to see them play again. Now I'm Jens, you got me going. I want to see Edmonton, Florida Cup
wants it, baby. Let's go.
Let's do
Round
this.
3.
Start growing that hair right now again.
It's coming.
Last one I had was who's the most famous Edmontonian other than yourself?
Wow. Most famous Edmonton. Yeah, Stoff has got to be in there.
But maybe outside the hockey world.
Oh, the hockey world. Jeez. Well, for Joey Moss. Yeah. For soccer,
Hockey
we got a
world.
kid named Alfonso Davies, who's
he's
with
from
Canada.
Edmonton?
Well, he came over actually from a Liberian refugee camp, to be specific, when he was 5 years old. And so he grew up. This is where they became Canadian citizens in Edmonton. There's a guy, you ever watch, he was on One Life to Live, then Castle, and now it's The Rookie, Nathan Fillion. You guys know that actor?
No, I don't know any actors' names.
I would need to, I'm looking him up right now.
Yeah, you'll know
Biz
once
knows
you
like
see him.
Ron Jeremy and Peter North.
Sure. Peter North is Canadian, though.
I'm trying to
he's from
think.
Halifax.
Edmonton. Joey, though, would be
Biggest
up there.
loads in the league.
I know Fillion.
Yeah, do you know Fillion? I think he's one. I wouldn't have known if you said that to me before. I'd be like, and then you see me go, oh, his mom taught me English in high school. We had Mrs. Fillion was our English teacher.
Fun
I'm
teacher.
thinking other great Edmontonians. There's got to be a bunch that as soon as we leave, I'll think about.
And last one for me is you told one Wayne story. Do you have another fun one to send us?
Ooh, another.
Let's go into the vault.
Oh,
or it could be one of your craziest, funnest Edmonton Oilers stories, and it doesn't even have to involve Wayne if you got one.
I do have a Michael Jordan story.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
That's a
I don't know.
great
You
way
may have heard of him.
Jans golfs with him.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I'm a member at his course. I don't golf with him.
Do you see him?
Yeah, a little
every
salt
day,
and pepper. A little salt and pepper on the steak.
I just remember I was working in Toronto and the Bulls were the Bulls. I would have been mid-90s. And no, the story's great because it's Michael Jordan. So I should preface it by it involves Jordan, right? I just remember he came off the bus and I was with the cameraman, and the cameraman goes like, "You got to go talk to him." And I'm like, I'm nearly like peeing my pants with nerves because it's like Michael Jordan. This guy is iconic, world renowned, internationally known, and I go up to him and I you remember the show Cheers, and whenever Cliff Clavin would try and talk to a lady, his voice would crack, and so I started talking to him like that. My voice was cracking, and we did in TV, we call it a walk and talk. So we walked and talked for about a minute 15 until he got near his locker room, and he goes, "Is that are you good? Is that enough?" And I said, "Yeah, that's good." And he said, "See you later, brother." And I went, "Okay, see you later." And so that's my Michael Jordan, which reminds me of Clyde Drexler. I do have one last, sorry.
I
one
love
leads to
that.
another.
Did you?
So Michael Jordan, but Clyde Drexler, this is like Clyde the Glide, right? Played at Houston, one of the greats of all time. And this is, I guess, how the world has changed. So there was a reporter in Toronto that was covering him. He had come through with Portland. And the reporter, I don't know how to word this, but he was trying to be cool with Clyde, and like just too cool, like just be yourself, right? And so he went up to Clyde at the end of the interview, and he kind of did all this stuff, right?
Yeah,
like, to shake his hand. Yeah, he was doing all these things, and Clyde goes, "This is how we shake hands," and he just shook his hand. And that was
That's
it.
like Leon.
Yeah, it just was like. And I was just standing there going, "Oh my God." Like, and that guy was like, he was, well, really pasty white. Like he was just so uncomfortable with what had happened. But Clyde's just going like, "Don't, like, this isn't about any colors here. You're interviewing a basketball player." But he was so cool at just going, "This is how we shake hands." And he just shook his hand. Like, and it just a story that, every time I watched him after that, I would just, no matter how many points he had or anything that he did, that's the story I remember about Clyde the Glide.
Going back to MJ, did you see him later?
I saw him after the game and interviewed him. And, you guys have been in front of, a wall of cameras being interviewed. And he kind of, he sort of just looked to see who was there, and he looked at me and went, and that was it.
Oh, shit.
That's big time.
That's your aura.
I think that was for me. I'm not sure, but
then you went over and dapped him up.
No. I said, "This is how we shake hands."
Like, this is how we shake hands, brother.
We got Roback. Last question. Use code Chiclets on roback.com. Generous 20%
What an interview
off.
with Gene Principe, by the way.
Unreal.
Couple clicks.
Through the end of the week, 20% off. CHICLETS for the code on RHOBACK.com. 20% off all polos, shorts, swim trunks, and more with code Chiclets. If you could work one other like big maybe sport or event.
I got the answer.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, so real quick story. 2006, Oilers play. Ales Shamsky scores. They win second last game. Vancouver loses that night. Bieksa was on that team, actually, and they go to the playoffs. So I'm supposed to go to the World Cup of soccer in Germany, right? So, okay, we weren't expecting them to make playoffs and make the playoffs. Then they beat Detroit in 6. So, okay, we still got time. Then they're losing 2-0, and Rafi Torres, the guy we spoke of, hits Milan Mihalik and nearly knocks them all the way to like Orange County and totally turns that series around. And I remember Chris Pronger, they were down 2-0, goes, "Mark my words, we're coming back to win this." They come back to win in 6. So now we're into the third round against Anaheim, and I'm calling my bosses going like, "What are we doing about the World Cup?" And they're like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I kind of want to do both if the Oilers advance." They're like, "Well, we can't, credit two different people. It's either, one or the other." So I'm like, "Well, let's see what happens with Anaheim." So the Oilers jump into a 3-0 series lead. And I'm like, they're like, "We got to make a decision." And they're like, "What do you want to do?" I go, "I want to do both." And they're like, "Well, you can't." And so I said, I just can't make the decision on this because I can't do it. I'm going to regret it no matter what. At that time, I had 3 kids, 5, 3, and 1. And this would be a 6-week trip to Europe. Oh. So they say to me, Sportsnet goes, "You're staying to cover the Oilers." Okay. So they win that series.
Your wife's
in 5.
like, yes.
Yes.
Saved your marriage.
She's like, yes. Yeah, I think so. 6 weeks with 3 kids at that age. So I'm like,
start a different family in Italy.
yeah,
All right,
so
fuck it.
I married Gina in Italy, and then I'm like, okay, this is great, right? Like Pisani's all the rage, the Italian, like it's all going great. And then the Oilers lose in 7, and my cameraman calls me. He is 10 rows up from the Italians. As they
won
played
it.
They won it.
Oh, my
and I missed
Luca
it.
Toni was on that.
Yeah, Materazzi,
Yes.
right? With the boom with Zidane.
Yes, yes.
And I'm sitting here, and I was like, I could be there. I could be there covering it.
Shit.
Oh, the Oilers could have at least
There's a
won.
Dan headbutt
Right.
or Zidane or
Yeah. You got it. So if the Oilers had won, it would have been, hey, listen, this is truly a win-win. If I was there, I'd be covering the World Cup and Italy wins. If I'm here, I'm covering the Oilers and they win. And the other thing is, the city now is even above what it was then, but you're right in it, right? Everywhere you go, everybody's talking Oilers. So the idea of being over in Germany, it just seems truly so far away, not only geographically, but kind of emotionally. You're right in it with Edmonton. And so anyways, they didn't win and I wasn't there to watch Italy win it. So
what about next year?
I'm definitely going to the World Cup. I don't know if I'm covering it. I went to the Euros.
They'd be crazy not to have
We
you
got to
cover
get it. Yeah.
I would love it. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm obviously pulling, for Canada as well. So that'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. So that would be the event that if I could cover again would be the World Cup.
So we need everyone listening and all Gene Principe fans to get on, write your notes to Sportsnet. We need this guy on the coverage for the 2026 World Cup. That'd be sick.
Thanks.
put the
boys.
Drake outfit and then the World
hot
Cup
dogs.
trophy
And the
then
Trump
they'll-
mask.
Might as
Gene,
might as well go a quad box with MJ air jumper when G's at the rim with the high five ready for him.
Oh, that's funny. I
Gene,
love it.
thank you so much, man. This was great
Gene,
to
you're
catch
the
up
best.
with you. We appreciate it.
Boys, thank you. I really appreciate it. Keep up the unbelievable work and have a great summer.
And
Awesome.
to Kevin Bieksa for facilitating this. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank
Kevin.
you, Kev. You're a legend.
Thank you so much to Gene Principe. Like I said, how do you not love that guy? Just a good dude, an Edmonton boy, Edmonton man, I should say. Amazing run and a cool career. That story of missing the World Cup as Italy wins to only see the Oilers lose in Game 7 on the road against Carolina in 06, that's tough. I mean, that's tough. We've seen a lot of heartbreaking Oilers losses from the Game 7 against Carolina to the Game 7 last year to just the drumming in Game 5 and 6 this year against Florida. But don't worry. Connor McDavid isn't going anywhere. Also, pretty sick. Like, even Michael Jordan could tell he was a cool guy. You could just, a cool guy when you meet one. That's why I don't think people ever have thought I'm a cool guy when they meet me. But Gene Principe is laid back, funny, and Michael Jordan, I mean, he could tell this guy's my guy. So, like we said, best of next week. We had to talk about Tarnasky and the best video of all time. Bang, bang, bang. If I could ever get in a fight and actually win the fight, I would choose, there's a hawk outside. There's a hawk. I'm pointing like you guys can see. You should see the size of this hawk in this tree. I got to get Yoshi out of the yard. He could just come down and grab him. But what was I saying? Tarnasky, bang. If I could get in a fight and ever hit somebody, bang, I would use the sound effects. Off to a good start as you chuck someone in a river. It's an all-time internet video. What a guy he is. And like I mentioned before, that's an apology video from the other guy who got beat up. I tweeted out just a good old Western Canadian taking his beating like a man, owning it. What a great story. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Anything else? So I'm the assistant coach on the Kirk Minahan Show basketball team. They played Barstool New York's basketball team last year. They lost. They played them already this year in honor of Cinema Lords, a big-time great fan of the Kirk Minahan Show, tragically passed away. His brother is now playing for the Kirk Minahan basketball team. His whole family went to the game. They drummed New York. They were down, I think, 15-2. They end up coming back. So the rubber match is July 28th in Berlin, Connecticut, right kind of in between, I think, New York City and Boston. I don't know if that's true. I'm just guessing that's how they decided to play it there. And I'm an assistant coach. I went to my first practice Sunday morning at the Thayer Academy Sports Center. I never seen intensity like this. I've seen NHL teams getting ready for the playoffs practice, and then I've seen the KMS basketball team. They got this guy, Matt from Providence. He's a monster. He can shoot. They got this guy, Beanbag Ron, running around. He's got range. He's just dropping. What's the term in basketball? Making it wet? That might not be it. That might be a little awkward. Just this team was a blast to be around, though. A lot of energy, a lot of just feistiness in practice. That's how you get ready to play. I can't wait. I need to be a part of a win. Whit. The Whit dog doesn't get to be a part of many wins. And I'm using third person here. That's how lost I am. It's all my golf game, guys. God, I could go on a diatribe about my golf game. Jesus Christ. Just across the line, stuck, just no turn. My body, like my hips and my shoulders, they don't feel good. I'm just lost. But like I told Biz, I'll be good. I was lost last year. I've basically been lost for about 2 years now. And then I'll find it. And I'll find it for a week. This year I found it for 2 weeks. I was striping it. Like 74, 75, 74, 76, 72. That was like 2 weeks where I played like 5 times and I was lighting up. And now it's just gone. I mean, hitting it off the planet, no distance. Just disgusting golf. It makes me so sad. I care so much. I love golf. But you know what? Like 3 kids, 7 and under, like I've noticed it can affect the golf game. But now I'm a 3.2 handicap. When I'm playing good, I'm a great 3.2. But as I played in Nantucket, like I'm a horrible 3 even. So like I now, some people are like, oh, you're a sandbagger. And then they play with me. Oh, what happened to you? You're horrible now. So it's like I'm getting it on both sides and I'm just like trying to fight it. I'm trying to fight out of it. But God damn, man, anyone who plays golf, this is a little golf psychiatry, maybe just like session where like it sucks when you're playing bad. It really does. Now, the question is, if you're really, really playing poorly at golf, and you love golf, and you at one time were really good, or even if you weren't really good, but you're really playing bad to your standards, how do you still enjoy it? I've talked to many people about this. Now, the upsetting part is a lot of people have told me, like, oh, you can't. Like, it's and I've had people tell me, just try to have fun. Like, you're outside, you're with your friends, and it's so true. Like, you're it's a beautiful day outside, you're with some good buddies, you're playing golf. Think you could be sitting there behind a desk, like you could be working and grinding. Now, I think the problem is my job. It's pretty enjoyable. So I think for some people who can't stand their job, which is probably, I don't know, sound off in the comments. How many people don't like their job? 90% of people. It really sucks to think. I really, really feel bad for people who can't stand their job. That stinks. But that's probably easier for them. Like I could be at work right now where I'm getting yelled at by my boss and I'm not turning in my TPS sheets like from the movie Office Space where the guy ends up burning down the office because people keep borrowing his stapler. Like that, you know, when that's your job on the golf course, no matter how bad you play, you're in a good mood. Right now for me, I love being at home with the kids. I love my job. So when I play golf, I just want to play good. I just want. And by the way, I don't even have to actually score good. If I hit it great, if I hit it unbelievable, and I shoot 79, I'm fine. I'm fine. Seriously, because I hit it pure, and then there was goofy mistakes, so I didn't putt well. But when I shoot bad, ugly numbers while hitting it horribly, it's like I don't want to be out there. That's the thing. I've actually been like, I think I'm gonna buy a boat. Like that's the saying. Like I gotta buy a boat. Like golf is not it anymore. How do I enjoy it when I'm playing real bad? So my new thing is just embrace the suck. That is a saying I learned from JB Spiso, a legend Army Ranger, who told me that down in the ditches, when they're grinding away, protecting our freedoms, they say embrace the suck. Well, I'm going to bring that over to the golf side, and I'm going to try to embrace the suck. And I'm going to know and just remind myself, you'll be good again. And then you'll be bad again. So you got to embrace the suck. You got to enjoy being with friends and playing golf. But yeah, it's tough, man. And every time I go play, I'm like, today's the day I'm out of it. And then I'm driving home like this. I'm driving home like I just saw a ghost. Like, what the hell? And it's also, I'm playing for big money. That's what I enjoy to do. I love playing for money. So then not only are you playing like shit, posting a horrible number, screwing your partner, but you're Venmoing somebody just a bunch of bank. So it's like, I got to embrace the suck. I got to get the club more laid off. I got to try to just grind through the ugly days. And maybe people don't want to hear this, but I don't care because I'm on this show alone right now and I'm just talking like I need to talk. I mean, I'm sitting in my living room. I'm getting the club laid off, practice swings, getting the club laid off, and then I video a real swing. My right elbow is up here. The club is completely across the line. I've reverse pivoted, which means in the golf world, like, I think I'm turning my left shoulder behind the ball, but I'm actually leaning towards the ball. Then I come up and out of it. I early extend. There's enormous high blocks to the right. There's the occasional snap hook, and it's an 8 handicap, which is nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. And when I started playing was a 16 handicap. I would have killed someone to be an 8 handicap. Maybe not killed somebody unless they were slow playing me on the golf course and I chucked them in a pond. But I would have been like, oh my God, 8 handicaps are unbelievable. But then I got good. I got really good. Now I was playing, in fairness, I've said this a million times. I was playing at least 8 rounds a week. So that's one day's 36. The rest of them are 18. But on my 36 days, I was not trying to fight the entire golf course and then trying to fight a former NHL enforcer. I was just playing golf. And now I don't really play that much. And I think with my swing, which isn't exactly nice or in good spots or technically sound, I don't know if I could play very good, consistent golf, not playing every day. Playing every day is done. That's done. Maybe Cal's just turned 1. Maybe in like 16 years, when Chiclets, who knows if Chiclets is around in 16 years, I think I'm going to need therapy. But maybe when I get back and will I be in 16 years? 52, 58. Jesus. Yeah, the good golf in my life might be over. But no. I'm going to embrace the suck. I'm going to be back. I need to have better tempo. I'm sorry, everyone. I just needed to talk about this. I need to just go out there and enjoy it. Bad swing, good swing, it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep trying. Thank you for listening to this TED Talk with Ryan Whitney. Thank you to listening to Nick Tarnasky and Biz. Awesome interview there. Gene Principe is the man. Shout out him. Shout out the Red Sox, 10 in a row. Awful time for the All-Star break to come. And tell me right now, tell me you don't know me if you're saying, oh, yeah, you never watch the Red Sox. You don't know me. Because the Red Sox have been a big part of my life. All my friends, I'm talking 99, 98. When Pedro struck out like 5 Hall of Famers at the All-Star game in 99 at Fenway Park. I really hope it was 99. I'm going to sound super dumb. That was like the beginning. And then the Aaron Boone home run. And then you want to think that I'm not into the Red Sox and that I'm a new bandwagon fan? We were playing the Norfolk Admirals in the AHL, Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, and we're playing Norfolk at some random game, October, maybe end of September. It was Game 7, Sox-Yanks, the year the Sox were down 0-3. And in intermission, I'm going up to Jimmy Morlock. Jimmy, great guy. He was kind of like the PR guy for the Wilkes-Barre. I was like, what's the score? He's like, Damon hit a bomb in the first inning. They're up 4-0. He was a Yankees fan too. I was laughing at him as Terrian was going over the breakout. So don't even try to tell me that I haven't been into the Sox. The last 6 years, yeah, probably not much. But before then, I was diehard Sox. Fenway Park, the best park in the world. I took the boys there. It kind of began the streak. My wife and we bought Ryder and Wyatt, sat like 15 rows behind the Blue Jays dugout. I think they beat them 14-2 that game. Absolutely murdered the Blue Jays. And since then, they are on a streak like no other. All-Star break could kill some momentum. They come out of it. They're in Chicago at Wrigley playing the Cubs. God, I'd love to get out there for that. But I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm hanging. And thanks for listening. This has been fun. Feels almost like a Oilers Spaces where I'm just talking to myself. But the Oilers season's over. But McDavid's not going anywhere. I'm repeating myself. That means it's time to go. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to our crew. And congrats to Matt Murley. What a guy. He invented the game of ice hockey. Don't ever forget that. Have a great week, folks. Best of next week. We'll talk to you soon. Love you guys. Bye.